text line. Yesterday, all about the stadium. We'll start there a little bit today, but we had a lot of things planned already yesterday that got pushed aside that I want to make sure we get to. I know we will throughout the show. And I thought we were done after yesterday's show talking about Chiefsaholic for a long, long time.
I called the story dead. I said now that the story has come to its conclusion.
Nope, can't be because Chiefsaholic's lawyer decided to speak on the courthouse steps yesterday.
Sure did.
Outside of federal court.
And honestly, I think he nailed it.
And, A+. It might have been his best performance yet. We will bring you that coming up in 10 minutes or so. And he has guaranteed himself a spot in whatever documentaries are to come. He is either through an interview or just sound bites. He has guaranteed his spot in all of them.
Happy Leap Day, by the way.
Is a family member of yours born on the 29th? Or?
But I mean, it only happens once every 4 years, so we might as well discuss it when it pops up.
I saw there's a casino in Vegas that it was actually smart. They said if you're obviously you have to be in Vegas, but if you're in Vegas and you were born on the 29th, free drinks all day.
All day? Huh?
How about that?
Oh, that's not in Vegas. That's by the thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I was like, that's a great promotion if your birthday happens to be on the 29th.
That is very nice. I do not have free drinks to offer you for this, but I do have some Leap Day stuff planned for you later in the show, you and Drew. I thought we should celebrate it because if I'm going to have to come to work, look, I'll be honest. I think it should be a federal holiday. I'm just going to say that right out of the gate.
You want every other leap year federal holiday?
I'm sorry. I should just give my company. Look, I love you, Odyssey. Great job. Screw you guys making me work on this day. I just give you an extra free day of work. So there's one extra day every 4 years, and I got to work for free for it. I'm getting paid jack. I'm making $0 today. Nothing. This is a freebie.
So you want in future contracts that says every 4 years on the 29th of February you get off.
Correct. I don't think it should be a federal holiday. I think we should all be off. It only happens once every 4 years. What's the damage in just giving it to us off? This is a free. You know what? Actually, I'll be less productive today instead. If it's free work today,
Klink's ahead of the curve.
You're going to get like 20% of my effort.
Klink was out today. Maybe he's ahead of you, Cody, on this idea. Maybe he's way ahead of you on this, and he's already got that in there.
Oh, you think that's in Klink? That's why he's off? That's in Klink's
I think
deal.
That clearly that's why he's off today. He already had it in his contract that he doesn't every 4 years he doesn't work the 29th.
Okay. Well,
good luck with that conversation. Please, actually, you know what?
Honestly, God, why would they care writing that in my contract? Once every 4 years, they got to maybe give me a day off? That don't even seem that bad.
Let me know how it goes real quick. You can turn your mic off. You can put your headset down and just walk out the door, and Specs in his office right now, and just go in there and say, hey, do you know why I didn't get today off? Let me know what his reaction is.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is my I'll just be very clear. Technically, they can't make me work this day. I have recently gone through my contract in which it states a year is 365 days, not 366. As far as my contract is concerned, this day doesn't exist. This is a fake made-up day that doesn't exist in my contract. So you think I don't technically have to work today.
Anything that happens today doesn't count. That's what you're saying. Like anything that's said on the show today just goes away. It's not a real day. That's what you're going with. Okay. Well, we'll see how the show goes. We shall see.
Just take off the rest.
All
right. You said you have things planned?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I didn't feel
I'm intrigued, but
I don't know. I couldn't remember if this, obviously, because we've done the show for 4 years. Have we done? I guess we would have missed the leap day the last time.
Well, February of 2020.
Okay, so
is that right?
So I guess maybe we worked it the year that
was right in the middle. That was right when COVID started. Nobody was paying attention to the leap day thing.
So I didn't think that this show had properly celebrated leap day before. So I
celebrate.
So I have something planned for a little bit later in the show.
Well, happy birthday to anybody's birthday that lands today on February 29th. We will talk a little about the stadium, though, to start, because obviously we've had almost 24 hours now since they announced their plans out at Arrowhead, their vision, as I was told yesterday. How dare I call it plans? You better call it vision.
Why? Because they said vision?
I guess so. No,
isn't that the same thing?
That's what I thought. I was, Facebook commenters. And so where are you at now, 24 hours later, seeing some of the reaction, having a chance to step back, think about what they proposed? Because where I'm at now is just pretty simple, where like not only do I think people have made their mind up already, but no matter your feeling on the renovation renderings, on the renderings of the downtown stadium, ultimately what April 2nd is about is just are you good with the very strong chance that the Chiefs or Royals, if it's voted down, go to either Kansas or Clay County or whatever? That's basically what you're. I mean, sure. If we dumb it down, that's what you're deciding. Are you okay with the real chance that the county you live in could lose 2 professional teams?
I think there's a chance that there's a revisit from one of the 2 teams with a new plan, all on their own, that still exists in Jackson County. But I think you have to go into it thinking exactly that. My biggest takeaway, and again, I looked at the plans again. I thought of it again. I'm like, it's just Arrowhead with bigger TVs. So I wasn't blown away. And I told you why I think they set themselves up a little bit, because they did nothing, Gold. For the last 3 years, I've heard them mention nothing but what Allegiant looked like, what the Chargers Stadium looked like, and specifically a trip to Titletown in which they were blown away with what they did with historic Green Bay. And they did not give us Titletown. Straight up. They talked about how much they loved that. They talked about how that was part of their vision. And then when it came to Titletown, they just gave us a field, not Titletown, right?
Yeah, but you mentioned Allegiant and SoFi, though. They
did the club party stuff there.
Yeah.
They definitely got some of the sweet stuff. They were closer to getting those, but on the outside of the stadium, they had mentioned themselves, not us, the Green Bay element and how much they liked that, and they fell short of that. But more now, I think I was wrong for a while, and I didn't know what it was going to be until they gave out the stuff. But when you look back, and I think for a month maybe, or 6 weeks, ever since the Royals really started announcing this thing, you and I kept talking about the same thing, like, oh, getting the Chiefs on there, that's smart. Really smart to pair up. And now I realize this is an equal partnership. The Chiefs need the Royals on this ballot just as much as the Royals need the Chiefs, and here's why. The Royals need the Chiefs for the winning part. That's a winning team, and people want to support winners, and they've got the Super Bowl championships. And it's like, why wouldn't you support your your back-to-back Super Bowl champion, 3-time in 5 years dynasty Chiefs team? But the Chiefs need the Royals for the cool part. Straight up, Chiefs plan's not cool. Royals plan is significantly more interesting for what you're giving the money for. Wow, brand new stadium, new district, tied into power and light. The wow factor that we were asking for to the Chiefs are counting on the Royals to carry the entire freight for that, in my opinion. And the Royals are counting on the Chiefs right now to carry the winning freight of it. They're equal partners in this vote, more than I had originally thought.
Each one definitely benefits each other. I think that's fair to say, and probably feel that way more because of what a lot of people were underwhelmed by the renderings. And I'll still continue to say a lot of the complaints I've heard are describing what a brand new stadium would be, which is something that I thought they should have done in the first place, not renovate. And so renovation is just that. It's a renovation. It's not the full thing. For those that are saying, like, seems like they kind of like half-assed the whole thing. Well, there's a difference between a renovation and just building a whole new stadium.
I don't think they half-assed it. I just think that it doesn't have as much as you hoped it had.
Yeah, I mean, there's the balance of individuals that wanted Arrowhead to be the same. And they're like, don't mess with it. It's great. It's, as I said yesterday. And some of the same people, not all, some of the same people are upset that they didn't do enough. So which one is it? You didn't want a new stadium because you love Arrowhead, and now you're like, the renovation's not enough. And I thought Mark Donovan was honest. I know he got criticized by some people in the city for his comments about the development aspect of what you were describing and the idea. And I think deep down, they probably at one point did want to do the hotels and the restaurants where the Kauffman site was. But they did a study, and they found out what, I don't know, the last 50 years Kansas City's found out, which is that area, unfortunately, is not a strong area of development for business. Ultimately, it's a business. They're not just building restaurants for fun. They're building restaurants and hotels to make money. And they found through a study that, you know what, that was going to be a losing proposition for them. So they didn't do it. People are like, oh, he said the quiet part out loud. Like, no, it's not quiet, Cody. It's been 50 years. They haven't developed. Nobody's developed anything there. The damn Denny's barely survived.
The only problem is that by saying that, that's the part of the base that you want to allow. Now, look, in Mark Donovan's case, it's not the Royals thing, but that's the part of the base that doesn't want the Royals to get further away from them.
But if you're putting
Eastern Jackson County area,
sure. But if you're like tying the two together and saying, well, see, it proves that building a stadium doesn't spur economic development because the Chiefs just said that they can't. Comparing Raytown to downtown KC Mo it's not apples to apples whatsoever. Like I've seen a lot of like, well, see, Mark Donovan proved that stadiums just don't spur development. saying that it doesn't spur development in Raytown, Missouri is not the same thing as saying it's a stadium. Not to mention,
he specifically said in this area, by the way. He didn't say everywhere all the time.
Right. And there's no baseball there anymore at that point in time. And so you are losing 80-plus nights, days, whatever, of an event going on. And so I have no problem with that comment. I don't know why people were like so caught off guard by it. Maybe it's the first time somebody in his position has said it, but I think it's been something we've all noticed. Why has we make the joke yesterday, like, why did Coco Key Water Resort not make it? Why did the Adams Mark Hotel close down?
Why aren't they rebuilding the Denny's?
Why is the Denny's likely not to get rebuilt? Things like that. But I think you're correct, going back to your main point, Cody, just the balance on the ballot measure of each. There's certainly a reason why the Chiefs need the Royals in this and why the Royals need the Chiefs. It's not as one-sided maybe as we once thought.
Yeah, and look, I've come around to that. That wasn't my original stance. That wasn't your original stance. And I get it. A lot of people in the text line are back bringing it up. They'll be like, it seems like, again, that they're just catering this to the rich. I will say this. Yeah. That shouldn't be surprising to you, for one. But also, having been to a number of other stadiums in the NFL, is assuming most of you fans have at this point, the Chiefs have probably the least amount of luxury amenities available to that group than like any other stadium. And that's not, that's just because of the age of the stadium and all these other things and the reasons why they need these renovations. They have very little that caters to that side. That's probably why they felt the reason to make this thing seem like a more updated, cool, and those things. And again, I understand that probably what happened with Title 10 is they're like, wow, this is incredible. Let's do an economic study on figuring out whether or not we can make that work. And then it came back and it turns out that they didn't. But they kept saying it. They put that kind of pressure on themselves by mentioning how much they liked the setup of those venues. The good news is that they can help each other. At least they got one side pulling the other side of the rope. If they want to try to get this thing approved, that's the two-angled approach that they should do it. The Chiefs should say, look how successful we are, and the Royals should say, look how cool downtown baseball is, and make that the feature of your two arguments. That feels like the easiest way, if you're trying to get this thing passed in April, to get it done.
Yeah, and again, I think it ultimately, no matter how great renderings look or how disappointing renderings look, it is still making the decision on April 2nd, one way or the other. Like, are you don't care that there's a chance that the Royals and or Chiefs leave your county, or you do care? That's what ultimately the effect will be from what happens on April 2nd.
Yeah.
Like and there's the people that vote no will obviously not care that there's a chance of jeopardizing losing. People that vote yes, some of them will vote yes because they think the entire thing is a great idea. Some will just vote yes reluctantly because they don't want to risk, they know losing two pro teams out of Kansas City or Jackson County. And of course, there's also anytime, I think if we need a reminder of how passionate people still are about, being proud to say it's the Kansas City Chiefs, as in the Kansas City, Missouri Chiefs, right? We've always seen that for years or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a real thing for a lot of people. They're prideful in being able to say that the team resides in Missouri versus suddenly the team ends up in Kansas. And look, I live on the Kansas side, but I really don't care that I drive into Missouri and go to a Chiefs game. Would I love the Chiefs in Kansas if that's what happened? Sure. But like my entire life, I've gone and seen Royals and Chiefs games in the state of Missouri. I don't care. I don't care. We're a 10-minute drive I can drive across the state line in 10 minutes from where I live.
You're not going to throw it in their face?
No.
Those are the Olathe Chiefs.
No.
Get it right. Did you not see? So Utah's trying to pass a bill. This is what's so funny about the naming stuff. Utah's trying to pass a bill for any future Major League Baseball team they get that the name has to, by law, be called the Utah blank. Not like the Salt Lake City Royals. No. You don't get to name it after the city. You're naming this after the state or no dice. They're trying to pass
That's what they're spending their time on in Utah, is worrying about what they call the team.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They don't even have the team yet. But they want to make sure that it's the Utah blank, not probably because it's the Utah Jazz or whatever. I don't know.
Someone says, what's so bad about Kansas? Oh, absolutely nothing. Yeah. Believe me.
I have nothing against either side of the state.
Yeah, but I'm my entire life I've driven to Missouri to watch pro teams. I don't like, oh my gosh, I'm spending $1 in Missouri on the cheap. I don't give a damn.
It's just weird.
It's a 10-minute drive.
To a state
we're
line
fortunate that we live so close, that all of us live so close to the state line, because we're not discussing potentially a team moving out of the entire region, not at least at this point. And so that's the nice part about it.
They're not going 45 minutes outside of Boston like where the Patriots are, or 30 minutes outside of Dallas like the Cowboys are. Yeah, I mean, it's not.
But even that's not even that bad. That's not even like, I don't think, like, it's still the Dallas Cowboys. They happen to be, it's just essentially a suburb of Dallas. Like, that's not even that bad.
No, but it's slightly further out than even the options we're currently discussing between these two teams.
We'll get back into this a little bit later on in the show. We mentioned, though, yesterday we thought we were done talking about Chiefsaholic once the news came out that he had pled guilty to, what was it, the 11 robberies, facing up to 50 years in prison, plus like $500,000 restitution, and has to return the autographed Patrick Mahomes painting. I thought, okay, well, we're not going to really talk about Chiefsaholic for a while. And then I saw, I think it was Fox 4 that put out the video. They were on the courthouse steps, federal court yesterday in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. And Chiefsaholic lawyer gave us a couple more gems. I think his best performance yet, Cody. This is real. This is not an SNL skit.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs Kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support.
That was the attorney for
The city's been blitzing.
Xavier Babadar.
His pocket was
Chiefsaholic.
collapsing. No, like
The government's been blitzing.
The government's been blitzing. And if you know anything about him, he won't let his knee touch the ground when he's stumbling, if he stumbles.
His pocket is collapsing.
Oh, it was great.
That's maybe his. I mean, that is by far his best one. And
Yes.
he has said some. He's had some kind of incredible moments that we have played multiple times on this show.
Right, like these?
This is not Chiefsaholic's last drive. And he believes, and we believe, that when the final whistle blows and all of the facts are known, that he is going to be redeemed in the eyes of his community, in the eyes of his fans, and in the eyes of the Chiefs Kingdom.
Okay, so I guess here's the question I have about this. I mean, all of this is incredible. If I ever sue any of you guys in the show, I'm immediately hiring this guy. as my
Matthew
lawyer.
Merriman, I believe is the attorney's name.
Just immediately. I like the punchy one-liners he's going to bring to my case. That's for sure. But do you think Matthew Merriman himself thought, I'm going to make a bunch of football puns, I'm going to say this? Or
No.
do you think his client, Chiefsaholic, is suggesting these type of sayings to him?
I'm convinced he wrote this. He wrote it out.
Chiefsaholic wrote it out?
Yes, he wrote it out for his lawyer to say. Because in the documentary, forgive me if I'm wrong, but he wrote he had a lot to say, and he wrote it all. Like I think he likes writing, and he wanted it to be read as if
he had a
was the one
statement.
speaking. So I think
what was the
I think this
statement?
is a statement.
So I'm sure he mentioned to his client, hey, this is what I'm going to do, or what do you want me to say? But I don't think he wrote it out for his attorney to say. Because otherwise, when the attorney say, hey, I have a statement on behalf of my client, I don't know. I don't know, maybe that part was cut off of the audio that was put out there yesterday.
Because that is what the documentary said. When he spoke
Yeah.
of the documentary on Netflix, he definitely said, Xavier would like to make a statement even though he can't speak on his case, and then he read it. The lawyer's just
Yeah, that's
talking
fair.
here.
Okay.
So, like, part of me thinks that the lawyer
But
just
he's
kind of
talking
thinks,
in third person,
he
though.
thinks
then,
this
if
is like
it's-
his Johnny Cochran moment, you know? He's coming out here just like hitting him with one-liners, being like, well, this will make me memorable. Between that haircut,
Oh, it's the attorney.
his general
It's-
vibe, I think it's the attorney saying it.
If you think about it, though, too, Cody, if he says this is a statement from Chiefsaholic, he's not getting in the documentary. His shot of it is a lot
I think
less
this
than
attorney
if
knows
he
this,
claims it.
likes the spotlight a little bit. I just don't know how you could take this guy seriously ever, ever again. Like, I think he's been an attorney in the area for a while, but I don't know how you could take him seriously whatsoever. Like, I would be terrified if this guy was representing me. I would be terrified that I'm going to spend a long time behind bars.
I'd want it to only be a civil case, if we're being honest. I'm not sure I want to go to criminal court.
Not to mention, like, saying, if he were to stumble, he wouldn't let his knee touch the ground. Pretty sure when police pulled up on him and he was riding that bicycle in Bixby, Oklahoma, pretty sure they said, put your hands up and get to the ground, or put your knees on the ground, or whatever. I'm guessing his knees were on the ground while he was being handcuffed.
Pretty quickly, yes.
Should we get him on the show? I mean, his number is so readily available.
He's not going to deliver anything better than he already delivered, though.
That's a good point. What do you think his law firm partner thinks about this?
Does he have a partner?
He does.
He does.
Okay. Yep. 2 names, the Bates and Merriman Law Firm, and it says our team, and it's that guy, Matthew T. Merriman, and Esquire, and his other guy. Yes. I don't want to out him. He didn't. I mean, I don't know. He partnered up with this guy. He made his own decisions, I guess. But his partner Nicholas Bates, who was born and raised in Kansas City.
That's true. Later on in the show, when we play it again, Drew, if we can get some Friday Night Lights type of music behind that from the attorney, I think we need to do that a little later on today.
Not kidding. Matthew Merriman. Guess where he graduated from?
Oh gosh,
his undergraduate degree is from.
I thought you were about to say your high school.
That would be incredible. No, he graduated from UMKC.
Are you? You're actually okay.
No, I'll just let you know. Mm-hmm. We support each other, fellow Ruse. Mm-hmm. I'll let this man look. He did the best he could. Chief Saholic was caught on camera.
I mean, overwhelming evidence.
Are you kidding?
Overwhelming
What's
evidence.
he supposed to do? He can't nobody could have gotten him off in that situation. He did the best he could to represent his client. Now that I know he's a Rue, fine work, And I like his press conferences. I find them very entertaining and memorable, which I think matters.
Someone says, friendly neighborhood lawyer here texting in. Any lawyer who insists on calling himself Esquire is a complete douche. Look, we don't know the guy personally. All I got to say is that he would terrify me.
That law degree.
Terrify. Oh, I mean, I know he did. Would terrify me if he was representing me, though. That's all.
Is anybody who has a law degree technically Esquire? Is that why this person's saying it?
Not sure how that works. Not sure how that works, man.
Just asking.
But, yeah.
The government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing.
Man, both of these guys went to UMKC.
Well, that would make sense. They know each other.
Guess so. That's why they started a law firm together.
It's an interesting alumni group.
What? Those two? Or are you including me in this problem here?
No, I'm just...
So it says, how come we don't have any photos of him in court? I don't know if that's a federal court thing. I don't know how that... I wonder if that's why it's a little different. It's federal court.
It's also not like... It's not like the trial of like someone. It's just like a regular trial. They have someone in there doing courtroom sketches. This isn't the OJ trial. There's armed robberies quite a bit. It turns out.
Honestly, I don't know how that works. If in federal court, I don't know if you're allowed to have video cameras in federal court. I'm not sure, but he's got to still have sentencing. We don't know how long he's going to be behind bars. Up to 50 years. Not sure. In federal time, we learned yesterday, 85. You have to serve 85% at least. Is that right? Of the sentence, whatever the sentence is. Doesn't mean it's going to be 50, but he faces up to 50 years in prison. So.
What a tremendous moment. You know what? Now I hope this story never dies, Gold. I didn't realize I needed more of the Chief Saholic saga, other than our jailhouse interview, which I would like to work on. But I didn't realize I needed more from his lawyer, and clearly I do.
Text line. Someone saying, when Chief Saholic made the robberies, did he make sure to have 2 feet in bounds, make a football move when he went out the door? The Twitter was full of some great lines of people.
Other opportunities?
Other opportunities that this attorney could have used to describe Chief Saholic and his feelings about what had taken place over the last year plus. Remember, back in August was the first time we had heard from this attorney.
I got to go back through. I didn't look at all the mentions, but I bet that they are.
Well, because every national publication picked this up. Another one was like, he said everything, but he could go all the way to prison. There's all kinds of lines that people were putting out there.
Oh, man. What a moment.
I'm surprised he didn't have, on behalf of his client, congratulate the Chiefs on another world championship.
It's quite...
I'm sure the Chiefs Kingdom... I saw some people actually upset, stop mentioning Chiefs Kingdom in your statements or whatever, that saying Chiefs Kingdom will rally. And rally around him for what? What is there to rally around?
Again, commissary, that's about it.
It's can you go fund me your commissary, Cody?
It is an interesting time to talk about him in such a, it feels like there should be, patriotic music behind him the way he's talking about him, or like you said, the Friday Night Lights music or something. But to talk about him in that way on the same day in which we all saw the same thing, in which he could serve up to 50 years in jail.
federal prison.
5-0. Oh, man. I guess we'll see what he gets. Find out here soon enough.
Someone says this lawyer fumbled the bag. Someone else says he's like Saul Goodman. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely,
It might be
very similar. Very, very, very similar vibe that you're getting there. Someone else saying, Cody, you have experience in this. You're a criminal. The record, shady past. They're not allowing you jail access. You may not be allowed in.
Recently, my original lawyer, the one who represented me for the mailbox.
It wasn't this guy. It wasn't this guy.
No.
Or do you wish it was? Would you?
No. My guy was fine, I guess. My guy actually was probably just like this guy. He was. I went to court to get a continuance so I could get a lawyer the first time I got one because like the court date was pretty quick, and this guy was just like him and like 3 other lawyers were just like handing out business cards like in the lobby. I was like, I mean, this is a pretty low crime. I'll probably figure it out. Then there was one of those guys that did it. He recently represented a very famous case in the city. My original lawyer.
Oh, okay.
He's handling the case for the Chiefs fans that all died in that guy's backyard.
Oh, okay.
He's representing like the guy who owns the house. My original lawyer.
Okay. Has there been charges with that? Or is that a civil thing at this point?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. Later on in the show, when we play the attorney comments again, Drew will have some Friday Night Lights or NFL films music behind it. I think that is necessary. Up next, though, Nicole Hardman's name is all over New York suddenly for some of his comments, and who could actually be extended a little earlier than we thought in Kansas City.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
Hey, it's Kling. There are many reasons I love Hy-Vee, the great values, the selection, the service, and I love to rack up fuel savers. And you can as well. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday. Earn a fuel discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. If the high is 68 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 68 cents per gallon when I spend $68 on Monday. Heat up the savings every Monday through April 29th only at Hy-Vee.
Must look up code 80007 at checkout or promo code HEATUP when shopping online. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from the first Warn 5 weather team.
This is KCTV5 Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on Monday with your Hy-Vee Perks card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Watch First Warn 5 weather on KCTV5 this Sunday at 10.
If you've thought about bettering your vision, what's been the biggest holdup for you? Maybe you haven't found the right place that you trust, the right place to help you find the best vision plan and path going forward. It took me some time. I mean, many, many years ago, I was told I wasn't even a candidate for LASIK. And then I found my friends over at DuraVision. I called them up for a free consultation. I also went online to DuraVision.com, and they laid out an exact plan for me. Your path, essentially, to better vision. They understand that everybody's eyes are unique and different. They specialize in vision correction procedures that meet the different needs of each patient. There's not one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to DuraVision. They're the best in Kansas City with over 65,000 vision correction procedures. So you just got to take the first step to not having to wake up and need contacts or glasses like me. 913-491-3330. 913-491-3330. Or you can go online to DuraVision.com. That's DURRIE Vision.com.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids gummies help relieve occasional stomach upsets, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids gummies. Fast support for little tummies.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Get in zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Castrol Edge can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for only $36.99. Get started on your next job today with the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
A car is never just a car. Kelley Blue Book knows it's so much more than that. It's your commuting chariot, your road trip refuge, your I just need a reason to get out of the house. Your car is there for everything. And for everything car, there's Kelley Blue Book. Need a new set of wheels? Price it on Kelley Blue Book. Problem under the hood? Fix it with Kelley Blue Book. Can another car do the job better? Trade it or sell it on Kelley Blue Book. We're here mile after mile, moment after moment. Price it, fix it, trade it, sell it, KBB.com it. Visit KelleyBlueBook.com to get the journey started.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Royals fans, are you ready for opening day? In one of the most anticipated seasons in team history, don't miss a second of the action with every game live on the free Odyssey app with 610 Sports Radio. Catch Vern before and after every game. Plus, join Denny, Ryan, Jake, and Stu all season long on your home for Royals baseball in Kansas City. 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app. Download it today. AUDACY. Live games available for fans and market only.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Max Motors. 9 major vehicle brands to choose from. MaxMotors.com. Going on at all Max Sport locations.
Love it or trade it now.
0% for 72 months on new 2023 Ford F-150s, 2023 Bronco Sports, and 2023 Ford Edges in stock.
Hurry in while selection is best.
With approved credit expires February 29, 24.
All right, just getting started on a Thursday, Cody and Gold.
Someone said Bill Romanowski was afraid of my criminal record.
Yeah, you think he looked it up? You think he looked it up?
Saw what a badass I am, and then thought, I'll steal clear of that guy.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with that.
You've got his personal cell phone number now, so I guess if we ever just see him turns out he's going to be in Kansas City, we can hit him up. Should I just send him a message, having never sent him a message, just text him coward, see what he responds?
Gosh.
Coward.
Sure, go for it, Cody. Let me know how that goes.
You want me to give you his number?
Let me know how that goes.
Just one word.
Hey, what if he
other explanation.
He
just
calls you
coward.
back in 10 seconds?
Starts calling?
We'd have to find a way to. Is there like a way that you could Bluetooth the phone in?
Yeah, you'd have to.
You have to tell them they're going to be live on the air. You can't just put people on the phone.
Correct. Yeah, you'd have to say, "Hey, Bill,
FCC
you're about to be live on the show."
Anything you say will be live on the air, so make your decisions accordingly.
Yeah, I don't think he cares.
Something tells me it would not stop him from talking. Be like, "Why did you text me? You're a coward." And I'd be like, "Oh, well,
then you
were ducking me." Well, then he's on the show. Yeah. Just not in person, like we had said, where I was going to call him a crybaby.
They're thinking of crybabies, Cody. There's a lot of whining going on in New York right now. McCole Hardman, we all know, it's funny now, has reversed, I think, in how people view him in Kansas City, not only because he got a touchdown, but now KC's truly got McCole's back, and KC is defending McCole Hardman because there's some wild accusations coming out of the Jets camp. They were upset with comments like this that he made on the Pivot podcast.
Telling you right, I was so checked out. Like, it's over. I already talked to Veach and Pat. Like, hey, bro, come get me, bro. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are we talking about? Like, man, come get me. Like,
that was initially the claim of, he tampered with the Chiefs organization. You know, he told Brett Veach that was the first claim that they had out there. And then, remember, McCole Hardman went to Twitter the next day and basically said, hey, I didn't contact Brett Veach or whatever.
Yeah.
Then he also, in that same podcast, mentioned how there's no standard that's set with the Jets. And so that, of course, rubbed management in New York the wrong way. And now you've got current players of the Jets like Sauce Gardner taking shots at McCole Hardman. And you've got a couple news reports coming out of New York talking about leaking game plans. Have you seen this latest accusation?
Yes.
So let me read you the exact tweet. This is from Connor Hughes. He covers the Jets. He says, I'm told there was, and I don't know what this means, validated belief from the Jets that wide receiver McCole Hardman, frustrated by his lack of usage, leaked game plans for the opposition, as implied by several players, Sauce Gardner among those. Not just the Eagles game, but also the Chiefs. Ironically, the Eagles' victory was arguably the best of the season for the Jets, and we all know Zach Wilson played pretty well against the Chiefs in that game.
Okay, so maybe he didn't leak a game plan? What's the point? Their two best games of the year were on days in which the opposition knew what they were doing? That's just not how football works.
Well, it's also, I think, just a bunch of Jets players that are upset that the guy that was able to get out ended up going and winning a championship. Oh, and he got the game-winning touchdown, and he's kind of viewed as a little bit of a hero in Kansas City, and you guys are an irrelevant football franchise in New York. Truly, irrelevant. That's all this is, leaking the game plan. Are you kidding me? You think McCole Hardman texted Chiefs players before they played? And if he did, he sent them the wrong game plan because the Jets had their best game, arguably, of the season. We all know the Chiefs got out to the big lead. It was the night we were doing our Vinny Pasquantino watch party at Hollywood Casino.
Because the Jets came back.
And then the Chiefs, of course, ended up winning it down the stretch. Zach Wilson made a Zach Wilson play, fortunately.
Yeah, which don't need a game plan for out of this side. Look, this is just very simple. The difference between winning and losing franchises. And it took me a really long time to clearly see the difference. But if you've been in Kansas City long enough, you know what it's like to see a dysfunctional franchise do dysfunction. Chiefs were really good at that for a while. They were the worst team, one of the worst run teams in all of football before Andy Reid showed up. Arguably the worst. And you see all the little things they get hung up on, whether it's gum wrappers in the hallway or every other dumb thing in between, where it's everyone else's fault. By the way, this is not a football-specific thing. Literally every person has someone in their office who does this too. Oh, they're not giving me the right things to finish this project. Oh, so-and-so Carol's not doing her, and it's always somebody else's fault. That's what's happening with the Jets. They're a loser franchise. They've been a loser franchise forever. McCole Hardman did not leak game plans. And by the way, that's not just a small accusation. That is a very serious thing to float out into the real world about any player. To suggest that would be that the only thing that'd be worse is maybe throwing a game for gambling purposes. That's maybe one of the worst possible things you could do to your teammates is leak an entire game.
And honestly, though, as far as the tampering part of did he send a text? But if we're going to now claim that if a player on any team, Cody, on any team, tweets out or texts to any GM and says, come trade for me, if we're going to now say that's tampering, well, then shouldn't the Chiefs, just for competitive advantage, shouldn't they have all their players? Shouldn't they all just text the Raiders GM and the Broncos GM and the Bills GM and the Bengals GM and say, come trade for me? Because all of a sudden, your guys are saying that Cincinnati needs to be punished there, and Buffalo would need to get punished, and the Raiders would need to get punished. If that's the bar we want to set, is that what we want to do, where I can just send a text if I'm an NFL player to any GM and just says, come trade me? The GM doesn't respond back, and all of a sudden it's still tampering? Is that really what we want to have happen?
No.
I don't think so.
It also just opens up the door are the Bills guilty or the Cowboys guilty of tampering because Trayvon Diggs sent out a tweet that said, get Stephon out of Buffalo? No. Players, and everybody knows, players do this stuff. Honestly, I can't believe that this is multiple people. And look, it was just the one.
McCole got them all worked up. McCole made some comments that I'm sure should. I mean, it would irritate.
Sitting in a casual setting, and he's like, I was so bored. I'm like, tell Brett Veach to hit me up. I don't think you had to take that at it. He was literally texting with every single member of the Chiefs, being like, I'll see you in Kansas City in a few weeks.
And look, it would irritate me if I was in the Jets locker room and I heard a former teammate of mine talking crap about the team I'm stuck with.
Sure.
I get it. Like, that's a normal reaction. What I don't buy, though, is suddenly this stuff coming out of the woodwork of, oh, we think he leaked game plans, and, oh, maybe he was tampering, and, oh, he was this bad of a teammate or any of that. Because remember, he ultimately, at the end of the day, said, please trade me to the Chiefs. Like, if you're going to trade me, that's the team I want to go to. And they complied. If they were really so pissed off about him and he was such a disgruntled employee, why would they do him a favor and send him to the Chiefs where he can go win a Super Bowl again?
Also point out, you know the seriousness of the accusations when you can't be, like if you're Connor Hughes, you better stop using Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner deleted his tweet. So you don't get to use him as evidence anymore. He's telling you that what he sent out was at least too serious of an accusation. Because if you're going to say that, you better back it up with facts. And let's say the
what
game
was the
plan
quote
against
they used though? Validated belief. What the hell does that mean?
Made up, dude. I don't know.
Validated belief? So you have evidence?
Who validated it?
Yeah, validated.
You're just inside gut feeling. Look, game plans get leaked occasionally. I'm not saying it's never occurred, but to accuse a player of it, you better have evidence. A one disgruntled employee, which I think McCole Hardman probably fell under, does not mean he's the person who leaked it. What do you think? The Jets, one of the worst franchises in NFL history. They got only one person who doesn't like the way the workplace is going? Okay, sure. Fine. Let's all believe in that versus the other. Meanwhile, listen to some of the things McCole really said about your franchise and what it meant. Things like we discussed yesterday, where he openly said that the entire Jets game plan was just, oh, we'll give it to Aaron. Or this.
Everybody do what they want to do, and defense have a more of a stabilized standard with the coaching staff on that side. So you could tell the defense got a standard, but the offense is just like, all right, we'll just figure it out. It's an Aaron show. Let Aaron do what Aaron do, you know what I mean? But then when Aaron go down, it's like, we don't know what to do. But this is that same coach staff that just was out of a job the previous year, then average get a new job. I know for a fact I'm better than him for sure. Like, I ain't trying to, you know, I know I'm better than him too. Garrett Wilson, the only person y'all should just be like, hey. So I have no problem with y'all putting around Garrett Wilson for sure. I don't care. Like, that's fine. But when you come to certain other things, it's like, come on, like, I don't understand why I'm not in the rotation with that. And y'all never gave me a reason as to why either. This my thing was, y'all can't tell me about winning. I've been to 4 Super Bowls in 5 years, you know what I'm saying, now, you feel me? But beforehand, I've been to 4 AFC championships, I've been to 3 Super Bowls, I've won 2 of them. Like, I know what winning looks like. Right. I know what winning is. So y'all keep telling me certain things, it's like, I'm not going for that. Like, because y'all not doing it right. Like, we got hammers on the ground, we don't got no discipline, people feel like it's too many individual egos in this locker room or whatever, and I'm telling them, like, that's not going to get y'all to win.
That's the part they should listen to. That's actually an incredibly valid and important thought from McCole there that the Jets organization listens to. It's like, I'm telling you, I've been around what it takes to win at this level consistently, and you're not doing it. There's no detail. There's no plan. There's no, and look, that falls on the head coach. I mean, that makes me feel less confident in Saleh for sure. And makes you take the Jets way less serious. But, like, God, to accuse the guy of leaking a game plan.
Yeah, and again, McCole Hardman put out a tweet 2 days ago after this kind of all started and said, never had talks with KC before the trade, so we can clear that up. The Jets handled my trade on their own, did the right thing by sending me back to KC. But it's been, we'll see what today brings. The last 24 hours have been really interesting, in particular with some of the claims coming out. And look, deep down, if you were to ask yourself, should McCole Hardman have just enjoyed the moment of being a Super Bowl champion again and not taking shots at the Jets? Yeah, probably. But you know what? This happens. Jets players, any player, there's an offseason. They get an opportunity to speak their mind, and they're going to. This is not the first time a player speaks about their experience
also,
in another
when you
city.
Win, you get to say whatever you want.
He's got that in his back pocket. He's got that in his back pocket, as he alluded to there. He's 100% right. He's like, the one thing you can criticize me for not being up to what I was as a draft pick and all that, but the one thing you can't tell me is I don't know how to win and that I'm not part of a winning culture and know what that looks like. Well, that's the one thing nobody can criticize McCole for. We can be.
He's played 4 Super Bowls.
We've all been plenty critical of him in his time in Kansas City, but the one thing you can't be is like, does he know what it takes to win? Does he know what it looks like to win and be part of a winning organization? That's the one trump card he has on everybody.
We looked at the head coaching, all the grades and everything like that. I looked, Robert Saleh's was a B, which I find a little bit interesting. But the fact that McCole said that he had the defense that all was set and ready to go, where the guy who was running the offense, Nathaniel Hackett, and Aaron Rodgers' buddy, said Aaron Rodgers is good. We're going to let it happen. I feel like that's, again, part of the reason why Aaron went to the Jets anyways was, hey, you need to get Hackett in here because he's going to let me run the show the way I want to run it. As a result, it was more chaotic when things didn't go the way that they had planned because Aaron wasn't playing in. You had Nathaniel Hackett, and I don't know if that's who he was referencing, a guy coaching who had gotten fired literally the year before running the show. And I don't know if Robert Saleh just said, hey, you're in charge of the offense because I'm the defensive guy, but it shows to the overall dysfunction of that organization as a whole a little bit more, I think.
Meanwhile, for the Chiefs, an actual winning organization, not the Jets, who can't win anything. The Chiefs have one thing that stood out, and I hadn't thought about this because somebody yesterday on Twitch was asking me, like, hey, what's the Chiefs' cap space? I've seen more or less. The truth is that they had more, but the numbers have been going down because of, and the mystery has been solved. Thanks to Twitter sleuths, in this case, Jared Sapp, the reason why the numbers have been going down is because they're too good. Turns out, when you draft a bunch of players, and then we had the conversation that we had, which is they're all performing at a good level, the NFL has things in place so that those players are compensated more fairly with the level of performance they're giving.
It's almost like arbitration without the arbitration part. Like there's already a built-in raise, essentially.
So Nick Bolton, Creed Humphrey, Noah Gray, Trey Smith, all earned mandatory fourth-year raises and proven performance escalator value raises just based on being too good, which comes down to one simple thing. Okay, that's a great thing to have. That's a great problem to have, that so many players are so good for you, you got to give them all raises, especially in a single draft or two. And by the way, more are coming.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Karlaftis and McDuffie and Jalen Watt, like so many more of these raises are coming that you're going to have to deal with it anyway, which means this offseason, you have to decide right now who are the players you are continuing with and extend them to make this cap stuff make sense in the future, which means I think mostly decide between Nick Bolton, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith who it is you want to go with long-term and are willing to pay long-term. Because this offseason makes sense to sign them so that these performance escalators don't hit the cap as hard for you, Gold, and you can finagle that money more easily. I would give Creed Humphrey the money. The most recent estimates I saw for Nick Bolton, I don't think I can make a great argument for paying an inside linebacker, even as important as Nick Bolton is, that kind of dough. Of those three, which ones would you extend this offseason versus just play it out?
Yeah, so look, I think when we've talked about the way the contracts are going in the future because of how well they have drafted and the idea that a player is going to play out the final year of his deal just doesn't really happen. And then you add on the fact that you're going to have some of these bonuses because you drafted extremely well that are kicking in and you're going to want some cap relief now. And if it's a player that you were already planning on extending in the future, we think Creed Humphrey was a player they were likely going to talk about this offseason anyway. At some point. Yeah, I mean, that and Andy Reid addressed that. It was a serious problem this year.
Yeah.
But that they're confident that it's something he can get corrected. We'll see. I mean, if he's still doing it at the beginning of next season, then it's a much bigger conversation because that means it's who he is. Hopefully it's something they can correct. But I believe when we've discussed potential rookies in the past and this current group of players we're mentioning here, Cody, a lot of them we assumed they were going to discuss extensions anyway. Like Creed Humphrey is probably somebody I think whether it's early on in free agency or later on in the offseason closer to summertime, my guess is they're going to come up with an extension. Remember, also at a center position, you could pay him towards top money, and it's nothing crazy compared to some of these other positions. If you feel there's a need to free up room now in order to make other moves, if you already are planning on keeping Creed Humphrey, doing the deal now could actually help you in this particular season.
And it gives you that 5-year plan of how much are we paying him in order to do it. Look, I guess the snaps would be the only thing that would prevent you or make you think about it, because outside of that, Creed Humphrey plays a near perfect center, right? I mean, his run blocking grades, his pass blocking grades, everything in between, always rates near the highest of everybody at his position. So safe to assume that you would be perfectly fine in that situation. But Nick Bolton, did you see some of the estimates, man? You interested in $15 to $17 million a year for an inside linebacker? I mean, their model there has been very similar to their model at corner, which has been bring him in, play him for 4 or 5 years, walk, and draft the replacement. In this case, you would say that Leo Chanel was drafted to replace either Willie Gay Jr. or Nick Bolton. But they have not drafted 2 linebackers, which makes me think they're going to sign Bolton and Creed and then let Trey walk.
Yeah, I mean, this is why, like, the performance thing is, I know why we're bringing it up, but like Nick Bolton also, just like Creed, another player where we presumed he was likely getting an extension this offseason anyway. Not because all of a sudden there was a
jump in the cap.
We just
I'm just saying
assumed
extend because you might want to start working out this money now. It's causing problems now.
Before this season started, we probably suspected that Nick Bolton was likely to get an extension at the end of the year. We also, before the season started, probably thought that Willie Gay was playing his final season in Kansas City. I think both are going to end up being true. And I know there's a pushback on Nick Bolton, linebacker, and the type of money. All I got to hear is the comments that Spags has said, both on this show and in other platforms as well, and how much they value Nick Bolton. It's not just, there's somebody else on the team that's a better coverage linebacker. That's true. He's not the best coverage linebacker. That's one of his weaknesses. But there's other areas where he makes up for it. I don't know if you have a better run-stuffing linebacker, a guy that's going to go up and basically be a thumper.
Yeah.
Do you have someone else that can wear the green dot and lead that defense at that second level? I don't know if they do. They clearly value that. Nick Bolton, the trust factor between him and Steve Spagnuolo. That's why I think he will be the linebacker that they're going to extend this offseason.
I hate that amount of money. I try not to make it directly like running back, as you know. But I mean, God, unlike the other position we've talked about, right? Premium ones, defensive end, wide receiver, whatever. Because you and I have talked about like what you can get at pick 32. What's available to you when you need tackle or defensive end, and what talent is available at that position typically, although they've done well getting at least George Karlaftis at that spot. I mean, linebacker, that's available in every single round of the draft. You can get good linebacker playing like the 4th round. That's part of where like paying that amount of money starts to like really hurt. I do think that they are I'm still impressed with what the Chiefs have done cap-wise, even after these performance bonuses. But a lot of what this says is like, boy, you're in slightly worse cap position because all these guys are going to have to pay. And all the guys are going to have to pay behind it. They're not going to pay them all. We all know that. There's a lot of players that will get paid by somebody based on how well they've drafted. This is like a Brett Veach thing. Like, part of me is like, I'm not in a hurry to pay anybody if Brett Veach is going to keep hitting at this rate. I'm not in a hurry to pay anybody.
That goes back to the L'Jarius Sneed circumstance with where they're at now. We know they've tagged him, or they're expected to tag him officially, and a trade is a real possibility because they don't have as many picks as they've had in prior years going into this. So if you can tell me that, again, this scenario, to me, they have to bring back Chris Jones if you're going to trade L'Jarius Sneed. You can't tell me that you're letting Chris Jones walk and you're trading L'Jarius Sneed. I think that's a disaster waiting to happen. But let's say they get Chris Jones back on a long-term deal. At that point, I could understand trading Sneed because you'd get, let's say, a second-round pick back, the track record of drafting players, what we just got done talking about, of how vital it is for this window, this run to continue, and why it has continued. Yeah, Mahomes, but also guys like McDuffie and Sneed, for that matter, and Karlaftis, young players that are not really making any money yet by NFL standards. How do you got to keep that pipeline going as long as possible? The Patriots did a great job of that for a while. And also
it's hard to keep drafting at that level.
And trading players like Sneed, who are very talented, but getting out while you can, if you will. And not that I don't think Sneed's going to be a bad player next year, but just, before, do you want to pay that player at a position in which it's not as valuable as defensive line? It just isn't.
And that you were better developing than just about anybody in the NFL. I did see one of the multiple teams that keeps getting mentioned for L'Jarius Sneed, if the Chiefs are going to trade him, is the Falcons, because they have no one at corner.
Falcons and Eagles.
Eagles would be tough. I don't know, whatever. They beat him in the Super Bowl. A trade's a trade. For the Falcons, just a real quick hypothetical for you, because you know how I feel about this player. Would you guys trade Sneed for Kyle Pitts straight up?
Yes. We're back to Kyle Pitts.
I want Kyle Pitts here. Yes. He's my Justin Ross, okay? I want Kyle Pitts in Kansas City.
At least that one makes more sense. At least Justin Ross did make sense.
I would trade Sneed for Kyle Pitts straight up. I get year 4, maybe the 5th-year option, and you'll get that 1,000-yard Kyle Pitts back.
No.
All the 12 personnel, who cares if they won't let us go deep? Tight ends are cheaper to keep than wide receivers. I'd do it.
So I'd say no. You and I have gone back and forth on Pitts. It's not that I don't think he's a good player. That'd be silly. Of course not. I think sometimes he gets discussed as if he is the next Travis Kelce or Antonio Gates. And I think that's a little bit much for a guy that's had one good season in the league. I know we can blame the quarterback situation in Atlanta. That's very true.
And the coaching situation.
But at some point, if you're a great player, you overcome certain things. I mean, we use this argument with players in sports all the time. Like, if they're that special of a player, and that's sometimes how you talk about him, like he's one of those really. So would I want Kyle Pitts on my team? Sure, not for the L'Jarius Sneed trade. For the reason that you were kind of describing, actually, Cody, the contract situation. I'm good with trading Sneed because I'm getting a second-round pick back that I can trust Veach maybe goes and has a guy for 4 years. Kyle Pitts, it's a one-year trial. It's a one-year trial for Kyle Pitts. If he's the guy you think he is, great, but then I got to pay him a ton of money. And if he's not, then you gave away Sneed, and I would argue after 1 year you have nothing to show for it.
I think what it is about tight ends that interests me, and this is why I would do it, is tight ends, there is incredible. It might be the best value in the entire NFL. If you have a top 5 tight end, it is the single best value you can get in the entire league. For the same price as one Nick Bolton, based on contract estimates, you can have a tight end, you can have a receiver, right, for your team, getting 1,000 yards. You cannot do it cheaper than that. Like, you just can't. Travis Kelce, the best tight end in the NFL, cost half as much as what Justin Jefferson will get. That's why I like the risk. You're not wrong, you have to pay him sooner. But, God, if you get it right, the cost benefit is fantastic. You got another 1,000-yard wide receiver option to go with Rashee Rice, to go with Travis Kelce, but instead of having to go out and spend, let's just say you paid Hollywood Brown cost you more, $10 million more. Tyreek Hill would have cost you double, whatever the number is.
913-586-7610. Someone says, look at who his quarterbacks and coaches. Completely unfair, Alex. What's unfair about me saying Kyle Pitts is not Antonio Gates yet? I don't think that's unfair at all. That's all I'm saying pump the brakes a little bit on how we discuss him. That's it. I don't think he's a bad player at all. I feel like, but the way sometimes he gets discussed is like, we already know for sure that, guys, he's a top 2 tight end in the league, and we shouldn't question it whatsoever. And it's all just because of the terrible situation he's in. That's not what I'm saying. He could end up going to Kansas City or anywhere else and be a top 5, top 10 tight end. We're discussing him, or some people are discussing him like he's already a Hall of Fame tight end.
Cody, I think that I would do it maybe faster. I would do it quicker than you.
You just immediately?
Because... And this isn't even a Kelce replacement to me. If Kelce plays 2 more years, you line up Pitts as a wide receiver in the slot every single time. Because he's fast enough, he's big enough. He's going to go up against the corners. He's too big. He is. Can you imagine Kelce, Pitts, Rashee Rice, and then whoever the hell you want to draft in the first round?
This goes back to even when we talk about Justin Jefferson. It's not. We're not even arguing against the same thing. Like Kyle Pitts in a Chiefs uniform in this offense would be great, would be fun. I'm just saying, I think
you wouldn't do it for Snead.
Not for Snead. Like, if you're telling me I can just give up like a 4th-round pick for Kyle Pitts, which is not going to happen, sure, duh, obviously, I would love that. Justin Jefferson, would I love him in a Chiefs uniform? Right. I'm just trying to be a little realistic about the situation.
I was offering you what I thought was a real.
That one is at least a little more
value-ish trade.
Would you pick a tight end in the second? If you got a 2nd-round pick, are you using it on tight end?
It depends on the tight end, I guess.
Because nobody in this class, except for Brock Bowers, is as good as Kyle Pitts.
We talked about it last year going to the draft. They do need to start figuring out who the next tight end can be post Kelce. And with all due respect to Noah Gray, he's a nice tight end, but he's not the guy that. He's not Kyle Pitts, Cody. That he's not on that track, and that's the issue. I think they need to start looking ahead on that. But last year, to me, was the draft to do that based off of the talent. Brock Bowers is great, but after that, it's not as strong. We'll talk more about this, obviously, and we'll see what happens with L'Jarius Sneed. March 5th, the deadline to officially tag him. We know that part's happening. Then what happens? Is there a trade in the next week or two, or does it drag on a little bit later on? Up next, though, think about this run the Chiefs are on. The core of the dynasty. Is one player that we always talked about actually part of it anymore? We'll explain next.
You're listening to Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
You've heard about the thousands of patients finally getting relief from chronic joint pain thanks to QC Kinetics non-invasive treatments. And here's one who was determined to avoid surgery. Meet Vicky.
The orthopedic surgeon said, well, you're going to need knee replacement sooner rather than later. I kept hearing commercials about QC Kinetics and thought, well, I'm going to check them out first.
QC Kinetics has treated over 20,000 patients like Vicky around the country. People who were told they needed surgery but chose a more natural, less invasive approach that uses regenerative treatments to help heal heal and restore painful joints with no downtime.
If QC Kinetics had not been what I expected, I would have gone through with the surgery, but I got so much relief, am now pretty much pain-free that I don't have to have the surgery.
Before going under the knife, you need to check out QC Kinetics. The consultation is free. Call today.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The needs of modern businesses are always changing, but corporate cards haven't evolved in decades. Until now. Meet Ramp, the all-in-one finance platform that combines corporate cards with spend management software. Ramp is the only card designed to actually help your business spend less, not more. With Ramp, you can set custom controls to stop out-of-policy spend before it even happens. And Ramp software even does expense reports for you. No more manual entries, no more chasing receipts. And with best-in-class accounting integrations, you'll close your books in days, not weeks. Ramp gives you better insights and a real-time view of all company spend, so you can stay focused on the big picture and build a healthier business. Join over 15,000 businesses who have switched to Ramp and start saving an average of 5%. Modern finance runs on Ramp. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. That's ramp.com/sports.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. From PassItOn.com.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not one based on the driver who treats the highway like a racetrack and the shoulder like a passing lane. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single-barrel bourbon to try. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Don't miss Power Torque Tools DIY days now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Power Torque hand tools come with a lifetime guarantee. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Subscribe to the Character Concerns podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. We'll get back into L'Jarius Sneed and trade proposal that you threw out there in regards to Kyle Pitts later on in the show. Thanks for hanging out with us. You guys can text in, as always, Jay Southland Tow Service. Text line 913-586-7610. We were talking about the last couple days, the window and how these moves that they might do impact extending that and the all-in approach and the three-peat. Heck, Brett Veach, first thing he said at the Combine, essentially in Indianapolis on, what was that, Tuesday, said, well, we're looking forward to going for that elusive three-peat. Okay. in this time frame where now they are going for a three-peat, and they've won 3 rings, and they've gone to 4 Super Bowls, and they've had all these AFC title game wins and appearances. Early on, the biggest factor other than Mahomes, you might have said, was Tyreek Hill. That might have been your answer. We all know they have since traded him. He has spent 2 years in Miami. He has, other than money, has nothing to show for it from a playoff success standpoint. He also seemingly just gets into problems on a regular basis.
Pretty good. We can talk about that
We'll
in a
get to
minute.
that in a second.
He's being sued.
And you and I were talking about, do we think when this run is over, whether it means that they don't go to the Super Bowl this year and we say that ends the dynasty, or whether or not this extends out, who knows, is Tyreek Hill going to be viewed as a core part of this dynasty still?
No. Matter of fact, he shouldn't be now. This is not just because he left and he's been kind of an idiot in the time he's left and, generally kind of an unlikable dude. I swear it's not about that. I know that's hard to hear sometimes. It's like saying, hey, I dislike Aaron Rodgers as a football player, not for the COVID stuff. I understand why it's hard to separate. This is just a simple math thing. When you were looking at the players that you're talking about, core members of the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty, you have to, in my opinion, for a fact, at least won 2 of the rings. He's immediately eliminated for that before we factor in anything else. Tyreek Hill is split between 2 camps. He is part of the pre-it-didn't-matter Chiefs and the beginning of the dynasty Chiefs. He is decidedly not a core member of the Chiefs championships. The players who rank above him, some of them are obvious. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and Chris Jones are the faces of the were part of the core. I will make an argument for L'Jarius Sneed, who has won multiple. Creed Humphreys won 2. Look, I don't think McCall Hardman, because you still have to be a high-level impact player in order to factor there. I think at the end of this thing, we'll discuss Butker as being a part of that. There are several guys that will get in this list. It might be 7 to 8 when it's all said and done for this particular dynasty. But one is not Tyreek Hill. He doesn't deserve to be a part of the core dynasty conversation.
Yeah, the core group that if this ends up lasting another year or two, or honestly, it could end right now. And would you say he was a core member of it? He went to 2 Super Bowls and had the 1 Super Bowl win. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. But when we're talking about a dynasty and now seeing pieces that have led to another 2 Super Bowl appearances and another 2 rings on top of it, and potentially a three-peat on the way if they win next year, I don't think he's a core member. Do you think he's more of a member than Frank Clark?
Frank win 2?
Frank got 2 rings. He was here last year.
No, I think Frank's a bigger member. He's one of the all-time playoff sack leaders. Tyreek doesn't have that.
That stat always is
Frank has more juice. He's got an extra ring and he's got the sack thing.
It's
Tyreek,
weird.
Tyreek has one. He has one of the most famous plays. His biggest argument for being included in this is he has one of the single most famous plays in Kansas City Chiefs history. Everyone will remember Jet Chip Wasp. That's what he has in his favor. But I think that's the only feather.
But I think that matters, though, right? I mean, so Jet Chip Wasp, not to mention, if you really want to turn it around, you would say, okay, he was here for the first ring. He was there for the Bucs Super Bowl where they lost. And then he got traded, yes, but also the trade resulted in Trent McDuffie being in Kansas City, and now Trent McDuffie has a chance to be the best quarterback in football for many, many years to come. And at some point in time, we could be having an even more legacy type of conversation with him. So I think with you definitely need to add other elements to it if you're going to make the case that when this is all said and done, that Tyreek Hill will be viewed as a core piece of why they were a dynasty, or why they still are if we fast forward a couple of years. You would have to add in, all right, one of the more significant plays in the dynasty run he was a part of. And he helped a trade. Basically, his trade helped continue the dynasty, right? Now, it takes some more gymnastics, mental gymnastics to get there, versus just flat out saying, well, obviously, Kelce, Mahomes, Chris Jones, Harrison Butker. If we want to, Butker, normally you wouldn't say kicker, but absolutely. Harrison Butker has been money the last 2 postseasons. He's been as good as anybody in postseason history.
Yeah, he's the most. Again, once you have those kinds of titles, like someone said, Mike Pinnell's got a better claim. I don't know that I go that far, although Mike Pinnell's a 2-time Super Bowl
good for
champion.
him, yeah.
So kudos to him, at least on that end. Because someone asked a good question, said, well, what do you think about like Randy Moss? Does Randy Moss belong inside the Patriots dynasty? And the answer is no.
As a core member? No. Not as a core member. Of course, anybody that won a ring during the dynasty, they're part of the dynasty. We're talking about being a core member of the run that
Randy
they
was on the undefeated regular season team.
Lost to the
Did he
Giants.
even win a Super Bowl? Honest to God, I don't think he did.
Nope.
So absolutely not on him. Tyreek at least has the one. I get it. I understand that. And someone says, so you would put MVS above him? No, I wouldn't put MVS as a core member either. Core members to me of a dynasty probably is limited to, it's probably under 10 players. And it is two things. One, you won enough of the rings to have been a core member. So in a 3-ring run, you need to have at least 2. 3 helps you, but at least 2. And you needed to be one of the 10 most important players on the field during multiple of those runs. Not one of those runs, multiple of those runs. That's why I mentioned Creed and Butker and Mahomes and Kelsey and Jones, and why I think Frank Clark deserves to be on that list. But it's mattered a lot for more than 2 of those runs and 1, 2 or more of the rings.
Yeah, I mean, I would say even if the Chiefs traded L'Jarius Sneed this offseason, and it's looking obviously like that's a very real possibility, L'Jarius Sneed is more of a core member.
Yes.
He was one of the best players in the NFL this year, much like Tyreek was his first Super Bowl ring. But L'Jarius Sneed is going to, if he leaves Kansas City, he's going to end up with multiple rings in his back pocket. Plus, he was one of the best players on the team, period. He was one of the best NFL players this season during the dynasty run. Now, what is a dynasty as well? It's interesting. The way people will view these guys, there's different layers. There's core member, future Hall of Fame, core member, then there's the future Hall of Fame type of legacy aspect, and that's just talking about Chris Jones, Kelsey, and Mahomes, really. There's the fun story / memorable moment guy, which, McCole Hardman's not going to go down as a core member of this dynasty, but he's going to go down as a guy now that had impactful moments during that. I think someone else mentions Honey Badger. Will he be? Well, that's a whole different, the Ring of Honor thing. You and I have gone back and forth. Yes, I think Tyrann Mathieu will end up in the Ring of Honor one day in Kansas City. Yes, I do.
I don't want to get back into that. You know where I am on that. And I will say one thing I would tell Tyreek to do is stop getting in trouble. I know that anytime it's hard, every time we bring up Tyreek Hill, why is he always getting sued for something? This time, he's being accused of breaking a woman's leg. Now, look, in a blocking drill in the backyard, she's claiming after she moved him in a football drill in a previous moment. What are you doing, man? Why are you doing football drills in your backyard with Instagram models? What are you doing? What life is this? Stop getting sued by people.
That's kind of his thing, his story, right? He puts himself in bad spots and bad situations across much of his life. I don't think anybody's surprised. This is the headache that you don't have to deal with anymore.
I do appreciate that. Not getting in that. That headline sounds ridiculous, though, doesn't it? And also very on brand for Tyreek.
I mean, there's
influencer suing Tyreek Hill for charging at her, breaking her leg after football drill goes wrong. You're like, oh my God, what are we doing, man?
The gossip column that, let's be clear, put this out initially said that Tyreek Hill was embarrassed that he got knocked down by the OnlyFans model, which that
probably
sentence,
because of that video from L'Jarius Sneed.
Absurd that sentence is anyway.
How do you even get yourself in that situation? Embarrassed by Instagram model and blocking drill in backyard.
She probably challenged they're probably joking around I bet I could, I don't know, break your ankles or something like that. I don't know, and make you miss.
She's got size on him. She's 6'1". He's 5'10". She reportedly outweighs him by 30 pounds.
She does.
So he got L'Jarius Sneed again. He couldn't take it again. He was watching that highlight tape earlier in the day of Sneed just putting him on his ass, and then she did the same thing to him in a drill. And he couldn't handle it anymore.
That's great.
I saw he also settled some paternity suit with one of 4 that he has pending.
Excuse me?
He's got a lot going on.
He has 4 paternity suits pending?
Yes.
That's a lot.
Got a lot going on.
That's a lot of paternity suits. 4? Bull.
Oh, the more details on the model that he was now being sued by. 29 years old, first connected with the 29-year-old NFL player after she signed up her son for his football camp. She claims that the Super Bowl champion reached out to her and encouraged her to come to the camp a day earlier than it began so they could hang.
Yeah. That's how you get 4 paternity suits.
That's how you get a 5th.
For sure.
That's how you get a 5th. Yeah.
And then reportedly she has screen captures of him messaging her on Instagram related to that, so she can prove it, I guess. Oh, boy. Oh,
TMZ obtained alleged Instagram messages between the two, which show Hill doubting that she was really over 6 feet tall, claiming that he was known to be a good stepdad. She went to the camp with their son. They met, and he invited her back to his Southwest estate, but per the lawsuit. Hill allegedly paid for her flight and accommodations, and upon arriving at his home, asked Hall to participate in a football drill with him in his backyard. The drill was meant to replicate an offensive lineman contending with a defensive lineman. Allegedly, she was able to push him backward. He became angry. He allegedly had them switch roles, and in a supposed fit of rage, pushed Hall violently and with great force. Hall claims that she told the 8-time Pro Bowler that she was hurt, but he told her to simply rest and use ice on her injuries. The model claims that upon returning home and meeting with an orthopedist, she discovered that she had a fractured leg that required a metal implant to heal. She is seeking financial compensation for injuries that allegedly have caused her constant pain and weakness.
Here's a real question. If you agree to be in the drill, though, should you be allowed to sue? Like if you and I, Gold, are participating in a blocking drill outside voluntarily, she wasn't like forced to.
Yeah, but if you're alleging that, in a fit of rage that he
took it too serious.
Okay,
that's
he got mad because she pushed him back or whatever. It sounds like like me and my sister if we were to play a game or whatever, and I would get mad because I lost. Like that's what this is.
I mean, he's
such an idiot.
He paid for her flight. The whole thing. I mean,
he's such an idiot. I mean, that's all it is.
No wonder why he needed to go to Miami. The dude was going to be broke. He actually needed the extra $2 million a year.
Just
Goodness.
to pay paternity and lawsuits.
This is the sibling. You lose to your sister in a game of knockout, and you throw the ball at her or whatever after because you're pissed off that you lost. That's what this is.
But he's an adult. Like who cares?
I agree.
No, best players in the NFL.
Gotta be video. There's got to be video of this at some point.
You would think somebody was taking video.
Got to be video. That would solve this whole thing very quickly.
He better hope that never leaks out.
Depends on, or it could help prove that he didn't do anything wrong, right? On the flip side.
If they're blocking against her at all, it's not a good look. If you are going at her and she's trying to block you and you push her on her ass, even though you're doing a blocking drill, there's no way for that video to look good, right?
Do you, Cody, if you ever see anybody online that claims they're a height they're not, do you DM them and say, hey, let me fly you to my place and let's prove it to me? Do you ever do that?
I do not do that.
Do you do that, Drew?
No, that's
if you had the money. If you had the money, would you do that? Like, prove to me you're 6 feet tall. I'll fly you out here. That's no. Okay, didn't know if that was what you guys do. Normally.
I guess good move, Gold. If you're trying to find somebody that is out of state that you want to date,
be
like, no way.
Let me pay to
you're
fly them in.
You're also 6 feet. Come on in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can afford one flight. I mean, I don't think you're flying first class, but I mean, you could pay for a flight for a nice lady.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See if it works. Getting some Instagram models
to work if that's happening.
He does football drills. I'll just bring her in for the show. Like, how does this radio thing work? Oh, let me fly you in so you can see and just have her sit in during the show. Could you imagine?
That'd be so uncomfortable for me. I mean, maybe for you too, but definitely for me. Not unless she's gonna talk.
I think it would be hilarious. Of course, I'm on this side of the glass, so.
So when I looked up a picture of the model or the OnlyFans influencer, no way, ain't no way, Miss Ma'am humiliated my boy.
Oh my goodness!
I'll tell you.
Someone says obviously Tyreek Hill was trying to get some, and this girl accidentally got injured. Well, most likely that's exactly what happened. Yes, it kind of sounds.
That's pretty
like
much what it sounds like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think you're like, you're too tall, and then fly him in and invite him to your house if that's not your.
Someone says I thought he was married. Oh, he is, but that's his business at that point. But yes, he is.
They might have a different relationship than you.
We don't know.
Married,
you know.
I don't want to say for
that
sure.
was after that was announced after he got married after he already knew he had like 3 kids.
Oh,
on the way,
yeah. I'm not even talking about the kid thing. Yeah, that's
just in general. I don't think those relationships are all the same. 2 days ago, on Tuesday, I think it was, we had Brady Singer on the show, and I thought he said something interesting that at least made me wonder about his season and what you had asked Vern yesterday. How confident are we that Singer's going to fix what he was? Because so the majority of his career, he's been a lot better than what he was last year, which was he struggled the entire year, never really got his ERA under control. He had stretches where things kind of went well, and then it fell back off the rails towards the end, and it just felt like he never found himself. Then he told us he spent his entire offseason perfecting different pitches than he had or that he had been working on in the middle of the year. So does the good he was before, is that coming back? Is he a completely different pitcher? I'm like 50-50 in my confidence rate for Brady Singer, although he might be the biggest swing guy in the entire rotation. Their rotation could go from good to really good. If Brady Singer from 2 years ago shows up and Reagan's is still the same and they've got qualified veterans in Walker and Lugo, they go from one of a top 5 rotation in the American League if Brady Singer is 2 years ago him.
No, I would agree with that. We talked about this on Friday. So Vern was in with me on Friday, and that was one of the names he threw out among others. If, I asked him, what does a 70-win team look like compared to an 80-win team? If they're going to really exceed expectations. And if they're going to be an 80-plus win team and have a 25-plus win increase, what's it going to take? Yeah, among others, Brady Singer is absolutely part of that equation where it takes him elevating his game and also being consistent, too. We have seen plenty of flashes from Brady Singer to where you get excited and you recognize what the Royals liked in him and why he has a chance to be a big-time pitcher in this league. But he hasn't been consistent enough to show that. He has had 1 year where he's done it, and then last year, last year obviously was frustrating to say the least. And what's the buy-in level to altering some pitches? That was a whole story last year, right? The change-up and how willing is he to do that? We had him on, as you said, the other day, and he mentioned a few other pitches that he had been working on anyway. I think he is a bit of a wild card, though.
That's how I see it. Not a proven commodity.
Bit of a wild card. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if he comes out of the gate and actually pitches well, but is that going to continue for much of the season? Nobody's saying he needs to pitch at a Cy Young level. That's not. But can you be consistently an above average pitcher? So, I have kind of pushed aside the chance of him being the guy we thought he was going to be coming out of Florida.
Like maybe a number one.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the cards anymore personally. Maybe I'm off on that, but that's how I just don't. I think we would have already seen some of that consistency.
I would say I wouldn't rule it out. Similar to a conversation I think you and I had maybe 2 years ago on Bobby Wood Jr., where I was like, look, I'm not going to rule out that the guy could be a superstar. We just haven't seen it in the early going yet. Obviously, eventually Bobby Wood Jr. burst onto the scene and did turn into one of the best players in baseball. Singer, his first 2 years statistically, was a league average pitcher. That's what he was. He was a league average, middle-of-the-road starter, a number 3. That's what he was statistically. In his third year, he was better than that. He was more like an upper-end 3, lower-end 2, right? He was a better-than-league average pitcher. Last year, he stunk. He never found it. He never was consistent enough to be put together enough to actually feel like he was going to lock it in for at any point. So I guess I should lean more towards he's more likely to be an average pitcher, but the amount he's talking about changing makes me think, I don't know, the arm talent is there, but I've seen plenty of just like talented people not work it out. So is the rest of it there? Maybe. I like that the pitching development people changed, and at least he's working with people I think are better at the job.
I still think there's less pressure on him. I know we asked that question point blank to him, and he said there's always pressure on you, right? Pressure is a good thing. Like it tries to motivate you and push you and all that. But I do think, it's not as if Brady Singer's asked, okay, you're going to be the opening day starter, and we expect you to lead this rotation. That's not where they're at with him. That's not what they're asking. I think that does take some pressure off of you when you have veteran presence in Waka and Lugo, and you have a guy in Cole Reagans who was the real deal, looked like the real deal last year, and we'll see what his season looks like as well. But I just don't think Brady Singer's the first pitcher or two you even bring up right now when you talk, at least for me, when I talk about this team.
But again, that's what's kind of nice about it. Yeah. Waka, Lugo, Reagans, then get to Singer. Well, so Singer's above average, then you're getting more than the value in which you're putting him in the rotation.
Vern said yesterday that a great position for him to be in is if we get into Game 3 of an ALDS and I need to give you the ball, then him being a solid Game 3 starter where he can produce and be a go-to guy is what he's, I guess, turned into. I don't know if that was what Vern was saying his peak is, but him being a good, solid number 3 starter and a guy that you can be comfortable going to in a must-win situation is what his peak can be.
Trash of the day.
All right, this one has to do with a band, okay? And a bandmate in an issue that arose. So, story from the New York Post. A small-time hardcore band has now actually gotten more famous, has gone viral, based on something that happened. So, one that involves a singer supposedly dosing his bandmate with estrogen in an effort to steal his fiancée.
Oh, my.
The band, Lil Rona, I don't know, shared the story on its Instagram page, claiming the vocalist Diego attempted to force a transition on his supposed pal by giving him with the female hormone. The vocalist's goal, according to the post, was to make himself look more manly compared to his love rival so Diego could swoop in. The band's post called it a stupid caveman mindset that makes zero sense. They have gone on to say, we have decided to part ways with our vocalist Diego due to the admission of very disturbing and concerning behavior towards one of our band members and their partner, the band wrote. Neither the band nor the members involved responded to New York Post questions about the claim. The post gained major attention, now millions of views, more than 100,000 likes after the hardcore music account posted about it on X. So you think it's real, or do they make it up to get attention for the band?
I mean, the fact that they're really departing with the lead singer and nobody's commenting on it makes me think it probably happened. But also, that's your game plan?
How wild is that?
Why not just, be nice to her and, try some other things? What do you think?
Or just don't steal your coworker's fiance or partner.
I would start there.
I mean, don't be...
That's step one. But if you're going to do it, lacing your guy with estrogen, I don't think it's a foolproof plan. I don't think that's a very good plan.
It definitely didn't work.
Better plans.
It definitely didn't work.
Also, how long did it take you to figure it out? Were you just feeling like what? How did you find out he was dosing you with estrogen? Were you developing some things? You're going to the doctor and you're like, dude, I don't feel right. Something's wrong with me. And he's like, well, you've got a crazy amount of estrogen in your system. Have you been taking estrogen? He's like, no.
Forgive me for not knowing, but what is a hardcore band? What's a hardcore singer? Is that metal? I mean,
heavy metal.
Okay, that's what
what
I felt. I didn't want to assume.
My only thing. Right now, they just said, hey, they've basically fired this guy. Oh. There's got to be a civil lawsuit on the way. I'd be suing the hell out of this guy.
I mean, but you're in a small...
I don't care.
What's he...
I don't care.
Suing him?
Absolutely. You intentionally gave me something that...
charging with a crime or something.
Well,
poisoning me or something.
Both. Cody, someone gives you something that could impact your body forever, theoretically, and how you're... Yeah. That's a lawsuit, man. Absolutely. I'm not hiring Chiefsaholics lawyer, but that's a lawsuit.
But he got against Matthew Merriman.
Well, we'll get to him again a little bit later on.
Did a fine job.
How would he describe this? How do you think he would? How do you think he would describe this situation? You know,
I mean, he's got to make hard rock, rock references, and about singing. God, I mean, immediately it jumps to it's got to be music references, he was trying to strum to his own beat. And it's not his, he would go that direction almost.
Next line's giving you a hard time because you said basically you'd have a better plan, as if you're I just have a better plan than this guy.
I'm just saying there are better plans. That's all.
Man, oh man.
My stance is don't steal your bandmate's wife. I'm just saying if you were to do it, have a better plan. That's all. Than dosing your guy with estrogen.
That is the trash of the day. Up next, we get to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. What Andy Reid had to say to our morning show a couple days ago about his contract, and we get right back into 24 hours later how we're feeling about the stadium plans for the Chiefs.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Hey, it's Kling. There are many reasons I love Hy-Vee, the great values, the selection, the service, and I love to rack up fuel savers. And you can as well. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday, earn a fuel discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. If the high is 68 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 68 cents per gallon when I spend $68 on Monday. Heat up the savings every Monday through April 29th only at Hy-Vee.
Must look up code 80007 at checkout or promo code HEATUP when shopping online. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from the first Warm 5 weather team.
This is KCTV5 Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on Monday with your Hy-Vee Perks card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Watch First Warn 5 weather on KCTV5 this Sunday at 10.
Everyone's about the new GLP-1 class of weight loss medications, like semaglutide. This is Dr. Cody Myhills, Medical Director of Slim for Life. Let me tell you why everyone is buzzing. Semaglutide is effective, but it is so easy to regain your weight once you stop. That's why I recommend the personalized programs at Slim for Life. The Slim for Life individualized programs combined with semaglutide is a perfect combination. Plus, Slim for Life will teach you new eating habits. So not only do you lose the weight, they teach you how to keep it off. Don't lose your weight only to gain it back. Choose lasting results with Slim for Life.
Call today and schedule your free consultation. Let them know that you heard it from B-Dub and 610 Sports Radio. 833-SLIM today. That's the number you need to call. 833-754-6863. Or you can hit them online at slim4life.com. All services included, exclusive of products. So what are you waiting for? It's time to be happy and healthy in 2024. Make the call. Tell them B-Dub sent you.
Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single barrel bourbon to try. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2, Carlos Alcaraz, and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action, so don't miss the thrill. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single barrel bourbon to try. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
And paid for by 24/7 Holdings, LLC. Attention business owners. Are you tired of those hefty credit card fees cutting into your profits? Well, we've got some exciting news for you. Thanks to the Dodd-Frank Act, there's now a game-changing solution to save you at least 95% on your processing expenses, guaranteed. Imagine processing unlimited transactions for as low as $49 a month. Our patented software gives your customers 2 price points based on how they pay, full or credit card price. It's that simple. And here's the best part. You can enjoy 24/7 support, next-day funding, a virtual terminal, online gateway, and ACH processing. Our patented solution is available in all 50 states, making it the go-to choice for thousands of businesses looking to eliminate processing fees for good. If you're ready to take your business to the next level, call 800-249-3171 now. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to save 95% on processing fees guaranteed. Call 800-249-3171 and make the change today. That's 800-249-3171. Again, 800-249-3171.
Hurry up!
Go away. I'm enjoying my hot shower.
Yeah, we'd all like to. Hot water hug.
That's it. Family meeting. We can all enjoy long, steaming, hot showers. Even the last in line, which it seems is always me. But go ahead. Have that imaginary argument of what you should have said. Take your time. With our new high-efficiency Navien tankless water heater, I'll never take a cold shower again. Visit tanklessmadesimple.com to learn more.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Brought to you by The Farmer's Dog. Get more info at thefarmersdog.com/nomagic. From better poops to more energy. When you switch your dog's food to The Farmer's Dog, the effects can feel magical.
What sorcery is this?
None at all. It's just real food made for the health of dogs. Get 50% off your first box at thefarmersdog.com/nomagic.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
So something we were going to talk a lot more about yesterday was Andy Reid's comments when he joined our morning show, Fesco in the Morning, but then the stadium stuff took over, and the press conference, frankly, was a lot longer than everybody thought it was going to be. But I definitely wanted to bring up a few things that Andy said to Bob and Josh yesterday here on 610 Sports Radio, and a lot of it was, the discussion about what they just accomplished, but in a little bit on his contract and what they're trying to do, which is three-peat, obviously. And I think it's been pretty noticeable, and even when we had Steve Spagnuolo on, we asked him, the team and I guess organization, because Brett Veach said it at the Combine, not shying away from three-peat talk. And I guess there's no way you
not
can't.
calling themselves a dynasty. Like maybe they think that ends or cements it.
Yeah, listen to what Andy said on all that.
I don't worry about all that. I mean, those kind of things are great. You just make sure you come to St. Joe ready to go, because that part won't change. And the guys all know. They know that it's tough up there. It's hot. It's humid. You better come back in shape. And so you go enjoy. You say what you say, and then let's get back to work. I mean, that's what you have to do. You got to build the foundation before you can, get any of that stuff taken care of. So, and And that will be important once we get there.
So he, more so than Brett Veach or any other, he's taken more of the, all right, let's step back and we got to build this thing up, and it's a long grind. And that'll be the tune we hear once we get back to training camp from the players. If we're up in St. Joe and the players are asked about, hey, do you feel any extra pressure, or what do you make about going for a three-peat? You'll probably hear a lot of the same as messages their coach, which is, well, it all starts here in St. Joe. Like, you're going to hear that. But, I mean, multiple Chiefs players, not just at the parade when they're all feeling great, right? But
that's an easy time to like, three-peat.
When they're at the rally and you're saying things like that, it's easy. But even some of the other interviews we've heard from players that have been on other networks during the last 2 weeks, and Brett Veach saying we're just going for that elusive three-peat. It's not something that they're like completely avoiding, and I thought that's noticeable and notable.
I think it's so weird because they do seem to be avoiding. So it makes me wonder why they've been avoiding the dynasty thing. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid have all uttered some sentence similar to, we don't care what you call us. Call us what you want, which was their message before they were a dynasty, and everybody knew it, and there was no doubt about it because they were like, do you think you're a dynasty if you just win 2 and all that stuff? That came up, and they would say,
remember at the rally last year, the parade last year, Travis Kelce was on the stage, and he's like, you guys been asking about, we've been a dynasty or whatever. It's the cut that plays for a promo from our morning show when they're talking about their show being a dynasty, but it's the cut of Kelce. So that comment was made a year ago.
I think some of it is now, I think the reason why they're not shying from the three-peat is there's almost nothing wrong with coming up short on it. You know what I'm saying? It's a free roll, Gold. No team in NFL history has ever done it. So I'm sure there's pressure, just like there's pressure to win any kind of championship. But if you come up short, no one's going to be like, what a bunch of losers. They're already a dynasty. Nobody has ever done a three-peat. I understand the value and what it would do for their legacy in order to do it, but I really don't think you should shy away from it because you're not chasing anyone by saying it. If you're
not. I don't think early in the season you feel it. I do think if you tell me by the time they get to the
title game,
they get to the playoffs, and if they're a win or 2 away, or just
no one's
the
even
playoffs
gotten to the Super Bowl. Just so you know.
So yeah, I mean that's when I think you start to probably feel the pressure. If you're 2 wins away or a win away from doing something that's never been done in NFL history. I don't know if in week 1 of the season, on a Thursday night opener, that they're feeling the pressure of three-peating. No, I don't think they feel it in September, October, November, December. I think that's a January, February where all of a sudden that you're that close. And that'll be a conversation in January.
I know that he didn't get asked in this, but he got asked a couple of times about James Palmer asked about his contract stuff. And he's just like, oh, we'll just see how it is. He likes being private with that, doesn't he? Andy is the most once nothing. This is why, going back to the Tyreek thing, he's probably just happy to be free of it. There's always going to be players who are distraction. There's always going to be somebody say something, and you're always going to have to answer something off the field. And in this year, it was Taylor Swift, which is the easiest off the field thing to talk about because it's not a negative. It's just, hey, Taylor was around. That's nice. He got asked about Taylor on the morning show.
I had nothing to do with that, but I think she mentioned to him that when they met, she goes, I know your coach. And he kind of went, like, what coach? And she goes, Coach Reed and his wife. And and Trav went, oh, no, that's not what I wanted to hear. So, but listen, it was all good. They're good people. They're good people, both of them. And I'm happy that they're happy, really.
This goes to that Pennsylvania connection you and I have talked about, where Andy was in Philly, they were in Pennsylvania, seemingly like the Tuckers and the Swifts and Veach and just like one big small grouping of people that all seemingly ran into each other for a while.
Talking about Russ Tucker, he's who knows the father, I guess, doesn't really know much on the other part of the family. Yeah, I mean the Taylor Swift stuff. We learned a little more on the what she did for the offensive lineman this week too. I guess at some point during the season she made him. They said homemade Pop-Tarts. Now
you haven't seen those before? I've seen them at coffee shops.
So when I hear homemade, I'm thinking I'm imagining, and it's actually hard for me to imagine Taylor Swift's in the kitchen making Pop-Tarts. Yeah. Can you picture that? I can't.
I can. What? Why not?
I can't.
Can you picture me doing it?
Yes, because yes, and it would be on Instagram. Yes.
Why can't she bake? I imagine you're a bit of a homebody.
Does she have time?
You have so her schedule's weird. When she's probably working, no time to do any of that. But when she's not working, it's not like me or you, Gold. When I'm not working, I still have things to take care of. Things I have to. People take care of that stuff for her. If she's not working, she's probably got 8 hours to cook up homemade Pop-Tarts if she wants to.
I guess that's one of those where never being in that spot will I ever know. Like when you're that, I
like cooking.
Yeah.
Like I find cooking enjoyable. I could win the Powerball tomorrow. I would still cook for myself. As a matter of fact, I'd probably cook more. I'd bake more. I'd cook more. I do those things now. I would do them even more if I had hundreds of millions of dollars because it's an activity I enjoy.
Yeah, and look, this is where like the Swifties can text in and fill me in. I guess it's well known that she loves to bake. Okay, well there you go.
Still learning.
Someone says my wife's the ultimate Swiftie. Says Taylor's known to love baking. Well, that makes more sense if that's the case.
I know everybody doesn't enjoy it, and I'm not saying you have to because you don't cook. You don't take joy in cooking. You do it sometimes, but you're not like. But you like grilling, right?
Yeah, just grilling. That's it. It's grilling and smoking. That's it. That's my extent of cooking.
But you take you like it, right? You pay attention. You're working on yourself. The same thing with baking. If you like it, you like it. I don't think the amount of money, like if you had hundreds of millions of dollars tomorrow, I assume you'd still occasionally make yourself a brisket or ribs or whatever on the grill. And again, I think you'd probably do it more because you'd be like, the hell am I going to do with all this time? Got to do something. And I know she works, but that's the case. Can I ask a draft-related question? I know we haven't played a mock draft sounder today, but I needed to ask.
Well, I want to hear the Taylor Swift tie into the draft.
It's no tie, and I just saw a headline, and I immediately got distracted by it because I think it relates directly to Drew, who does a lot of college football watching and draft coverage and is interested in that, and is also married to someone who might share similar beliefs of this prospect. Should it be dismissing that Tyler? First off, is Tyler Owens good, like as a cornerback prospect for the NFL? Because he's at the combine today, and the exact quote he just gave was, "I don't believe in space." Like, it's just not a thing. It doesn't exist. And then followed it up by just being like, this flat earther's got a real point. He thinks space is just a made-up construct that's not real. And so I'm trying to ask if
I don't think my wife is that.
Hers is just the moon?
Yeah, her idea is that advanced. She does believe in space.
Okay. Well, that's good. I didn't know.
And I don't think she is a flat earther.
Should we disqualify NFL prospects for not believing in things? Like, if they don't believe that space exists, should we disqualify?
That is a major question. I think that has to come up.
I don't think it disqualifies, but I definitely just want to
drops him down the board.
I didn't drop him on the board, but I've got more questions. You know what I mean? It doesn't drop him down. I've just got more questions about other things. I don't think it moves you down, but the minute you say yes, so I don't think space is a real thing. I'm like, oh, and then I would just start diving deep into any other conspiracies and things like that, and find out where his head's at.
Like if this is his one big conspiracy, if he has more that he believes in.
Textline believes. Textline says we're in a dome, Cody. We are in a dome.
The moon's a space station.
And this is what, all a dream? It's
That's
like
right.
Super Mario Brothers 2?
We just didn't know it.
The moon is a space station.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to get back into conspiracy
There are times where I think
the lunar lander tipped over because it was windy up there. Tipped over. Do you think they intentionally had it tip over, Drew?
Just add some juice to it.
Well, look, I do not think that the moon is fake. I'm all on board with all the space stuff. It is funny that my wife randomly will say we're in a simulation, and I don't know if she's joking or if she's dead serious.
Dude,
I
there's
think
no way
joking,
she's not joking at that. I mean, do you say that? Well, I don't know. It depends on the setting in which she's saying it. I'll give you that, Drew.
Joking, I think, is what it is. I hope at least. I haven't asked her if she's serious about it or not. I just take it as a joke and move on.
All these people with all their moon conspiracies. I just didn't know if that would be disqualifying. I guess if they're good at football, what do you care? Look, I don't know where Tyler Owens is expected
Kyrie Irving
to go.
is an amazing basketball player. He's also believes that the Earth is flat.
But he's also not won anything,
Kyrie Irving also has a lot of other beliefs.
Bad ones.
That doesn't make him a bad basketball player, though. So I think
no,
for
but
Owens,
I'm just saying, like,
might be
the space thing I don't care about.
Yeah.
I would have other questions. The Kyrie Irving comparison. The Kyrie Irving comparison.
I agree.
That's a little bit different.
And I'm not saying he's going to be amazing, but I think that you can move past it if he's.
Yeah, the space thing is just funny.
It's a complete. I'm just asking. I don't believe in space.
It's a good thing he's got a lot of athletic ability. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
That helps. I wouldn't say that in most job interviews, just as a heads up. I don't even care if it's for the NFL football.
Say that you don't believe space is real.
Yeah. Look, I don't care if you're interviewing for a bank, this radio show, or to be a professional NFL football player. If they ask you if you think space is real, just say yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Figure the rest of this out later. You'd actually be better off saying I believe in mermaids than I don't believe in space. Because I can't prove to you that mermaids aren't, like I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like I can't prove a thing that doesn't exist in a way. But like space, I mean, people have been in it. That's a real thing.
Do you guys want to just answer moon questions today, and we can all learn together? Someone says, "What I don't get
I already got
is
that from Ned a couple of years ago.
why can sometimes we see the full moon and sometimes we can only see half? That's because sometimes the moon's behind the sun. That's why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
Earth rotates.
Yeah.
And we rotate around the sun, therefore creating...
The moon orbits around Earth. We don't. The moon orbits around us.
And Earth orbits around the sun, and then sometimes they consistently move in a way that lines up. Or do we need to explain this because of leap days? The reason why leap days exist is because of the Earth doesn't rotate in a perfect 365 days. So once every 4 years, we got all this built up day we got to get rid of, so we burn it off.
Yeah, it's like, what's blocking us from seeing it? Again, we just the opposite side of the sun. We're on like we would be,
isn't it?
The sun is blocking you from seeing it.
I think there is a solar eclipse coming up, isn't there? In Arkansas is like a good spot to see it. I could be wrong. I think that's coming up, or am I off? The last time we had with a full one was when I was in Boise. And
there was a big one a couple years ago, wasn't there?
Yeah, I think. You could see it in other spots. What's the?
There was a really big one here.
There's a terminology for the spot where you can
total eclipse or whatever.
Well,
the optimal viewing location.
Yeah, there's a term for that. I don't remember what it is, but there's a word that's used for that, and I'm drawing a blank. April 8th, someone said. Thank you. Yeah, April 8th. There's another one coming up. And I guess Arkansas
Passing
is
over Mexico, United States,
Arkansas is a
Canada.
decent spot to see it.
The total solar eclipse will begin over the South Pacific Ocean, weather permitting. The first location North America will be Mexico's Pacific coast. But yes, it does look like the
path of totality, I think, is the
path of totality.
I believe that's what I'm looking for.
By the way, I think that's what the Chiefs should call this run to a three-peat. I'm officially throwing it out there right now. I think that they should call their quest for a three-peat, not a quest for a three-peat, their path to totality.
Yeah.
Way more badass sounding. I think we can all agree with that.
Yeah, the point of totality. And it's their path.
Path of Totality is a badass name for a dynasty effort.
It's also a great
That's
band.
Really cool.
It's also a great band name. Thinking of bands earlier. If that doesn't already exist, I'm sure it
should
does.
be heavy metal though. I'm
it
gonna be
has
honest.
to be. Yeah.
I think you could be a K-pop group and be the Path of Totality.
My guess. I'm gonna Google. I'm guessing there's already a band called Path of Totality. If not, it needs to happen.
Just to make sure that people either aren't married or engaged. You're also.
Oh yeah, it's the name of an album.
You have some guidelines.
That's different.
Out.
The Path of Totality was the name of an album by Corey.
Of course. It was. Yeah. One of the first bands I saw in concert.
Was it? Oh yeah, you've told me this.
The first concert I saw.
Yeah.
It was Korn, Limp Bizkit, Ice Cube, Rammstein, and it was like one other band. I don't remember who. It was one of those big touring ones.
Thinking of building things.
Oh, there you go. Good cover.
Arrowhead. They're looking to build some new things around Arrowhead with some plans that we talked about a lot yesterday on the show.
Easy to joke about and all that stuff. And I told you earlier in the show, I actually feel like they need each other way more than I originally thought, where I think the Royals and the Chiefs both need each other to make this pass. The Royals need the cool factor, and the Chiefs need the, hey, we're the winning franchise factor. Were you at all surprised? I'll be honest, I was. That's why I'm asking it. I was surprised by the lack of support the Chiefs got. Not because I didn't think the plan didn't wow me. It didn't. I was not impressed by it. I underestimated Chiefs Kingdom. I just assumed because of the pure amount they have been winning and the love of Arrowhead in this city, that any rendering they put out was going to get the fans to just be like, yeah, you did it. Mission accomplished. I thought fans would just line up and say, this is the one. And that was decidedly not the energy.
No, I mean, it's always tough to judge just off the social media reaction, but based off of just that, people were underwhelmed. I told you I didn't think it was this amazing rendering, but I also went in with understanding that it was a renovation. And I still think sometimes we forget that, of course, the Royals Stadium is more exciting. It's a brand new stadium that's going to be $2 billion, and it's in a new location, and it's a whole new concept and idea of baseball downtown and what that actually means for your experience, whereas Arrowhead, they're renovating a 50-plus-year-old building. I think there's just limitations within that. Ultimately, we can argue or disagree about renderings and did it have this or does it not. Ultimately, on April 2nd, though, people are deciding, those that are in Jackson County are deciding that they are okay with potentially risking the Royals and or Chiefs leaving their county for either another county in Missouri or across the state line of Kansas, or they're not. I mean, I think deep down that is a decision you're making. I've talked to some people that are like you to a certain extent, where they don't really like the renderings, but they know what is at stake for a county they live in. They don't want their county to lose professional teams. There's other people that don't care about that, and obviously they're going to vote no. So like that's the breakdown. I think there's a fragment that actually loves the renderings, loves the plan. There's that are going to vote yes. There's a fragment of that yes vote that is don't really like the idea, but I also don't want them to lose teams in my county. Then there's the people that say no because, hey, I'm always no on a publicly financed project. And then some of the other people that are in no, they just didn't like the renderings. They think they can do better, and they're willing to risk the possibility of the Chiefs leaving Jackson County.
Do you guys care for another conspiracy theory that I actually
related to this?
Subscribe
to?
Wait,
to
not
this.
related to the moon.
Has absolutely nothing.
Sure, I'm listening
about the moon. But so the Chiefs know that the way this would pass is just off of fan excitement. So purposefully, they maybe made the presentation a little lackluster. Hey, we're going to update the parking. We're going to give the RVs some plugins. We're going to give you a little fan zone, but we're not going to do anything.
You think that they threw it?
So it allows the Chiefs to present their own proposal for a new stadium somewhere else.
Oh, my God.
And this falls in line with there's no businesses around Arrowhead currently, so we can go somewhere else where the new Arrowhead can thrive a little bit more with surrounding businesses, and everybody will like it.
So your theory is that they're throwing this vote. They knew it intentionally would go over poorly because they don't want to be the bad guy who turns down Jackson County. Instead, Jackson County turns them down, and then they're not the bad guys for going to Kansas?
Correct. They don't want to be the bad guys, so the fans say, you know what, it wasn't good enough. Then they can come up with a good proposal for that $2 to $3 billion new stadium.
So a couple things. What I think if the theory is that they intentionally had a bad rendering and renovation to do that I don't buy into. If your theory, though, and what could happen is that they don't want to, what you were saying, Cody, be the bad guy, and they can come back and say if it didn't pass, look, we tried to stay in your county. You guys told us no, and win the PR game there. I can buy that.
So you're buying half into this conspiracy?
But I buy into what the impact could be if it doesn't pass, and that it's not actually the worst thing in the world for them. The part I won't buy is that they intentionally purposely waited till a month before to have what is viewed as an underwhelming renovation because they just wanted to purposely tank it for the Royals as well. Like I don't buy that. Now we know, like Fesco's reported in the morning show, that there are other jurisdictions that have given them better public financing options. And so that would lean into what you're saying a little bit, Drew. But I don't believe they intentionally had crappy renderings, if you view them as crappy. I don't. But if you do, that they did that. But there's definitely some truth to, if the vote were to fail and then they left, you wouldn't be able to put it on them and say, like, how could you leave Jackson County? Like, you guys didn't vote what we wanted you to vote.
I don't think they're crappy renderings. It's just the overall conversation is underwhelming. They wanted to pitch it as they're not doing anything that moves the needle, if you will.
For sure.
They don't, and as a result, they're going to be able to, because all they've talked about, is the Allegiant Stadium and SoFi. This also gives them a new chance, by the way, to do, I think, what Cody and I are talking about in terms of the restaurants around, but also you can celebrate Arrowhead for what it has been and its legacy in this new spot, while also building a stadium that looks like an Allegiant or a SoFi.
Well, yeah, like the idea of them building a new stadium in Kansas is not a new idea. It's
been getting kicked around.
That's not like obviously, if they move to Kansas, they're building everything around it. That the whole idea is different. I think that's pretty clear. This particular thought is just what you're throwing out there about the vote. I think the PR game would lend itself to what you're saying. I don't believe they intentionally put out crappy renderings. That part I won't go as far as that. But
I do think the Royals in this situation.
Correct. Also, I still think
definitely want their stadium,
because deep down, if they wanted a new stadium, they could try to get a new stadium in Kansas right now, and then move when the lease is up. But that's where the PR part comes in. People would say, how could you leave Jackson County? It does open the door where if the vote gets turned down, that they could say, oh, we tried to stay here. You guys didn't want us. But I'm just not going to buy into the fact that they spent what I would perceive to be millions of dollars covering up with renderings, because that's not cheap to do, even the rendering part of it and the planning. Spend millions of dollars on that just for it purposely to be disappointing and take a PR hit for a month. I don't buy that.
I think the text line likes it.
Yeah, the text line is actually weirdly in favor of it.
Yeah.
As are the social media channels. We're on Twitch and YouTube. And
Also, I don't know how you'll ever be able to really prove it, because if it fails, I don't think you're going to be like, well, see, they purposely did it. Is that what we're at
they
now?
built a stadium right in Kansas. Yes, Drew's right.
Well,
how can you argue it?
Well, no.
I'm just
We've
kidding.
been saying
obviously.
for 2 years
Yes,
that if
obviously.
it doesn't pass in Jackson County, they're going to Wyandotte.
One underrated part that the text line brought up, that upon looking, because I looked at the renderings again last night, I was trying to decide, you have an opinion, you and I had an immediate reaction, we're looking at it, and I was like, I want to make sure that how I felt about it then is how I still feel about it. That one rendering that they sent, where they were like, look, we gave you new cool parking, I couldn't believe that photo in particular, based on the fact that every single person who has bitched about how far they'll have to walk to the downtown stadium. One of the photos the Chiefs sent of the rendering of the parking looks like you're parking in like Quebec. You're like halfway across the country. They're like, hey, just take these 14-mile pedestrian bridge and you'll be to Arrowhead in 7 clicks. No problem. You'll be there in no time.
That's why I think something's up. You almost can't take it serious. Like, are you
Well,
serious?
no, hold on. Okay, now we're going too far. Now we're going too far.
I just said that I didn't like that photo.
Yeah,
don't let me in with that.
Let's stop the conspiracy thing for a second. The parking lot, the reason why I stopped you, Drew, is because it's not. I know you haven't been out to Arrowhead yet. The lot Cody is referencing, which used to only be the red lot, now they call it all the red lot and then whatever. But and it's basically just your standard parking. That trek of a walk that you have to make, we've all been making for 50 years out at that parking lot. The pedestrian bridgeway or walkway is just making it look nicer. It's the same damn walk we all been taking. You are correct that it's the perception. People don't realize how far they're walking.
So far.
Truman to Arrowhead, Truman Sports Complex, the back of it to Arrowhead. Drew, they didn't intentionally put out a rendering about the crosswalk to throw the damn project.
I'm saying that it essentially is the same thing. It just looks a little more modern.
It's a renovation. I mean, this is stuff that's driving me crazy in the last day. I'll be honest. And this is not just you, Drew, but we can disagree on publicly financed stuff. I'm not even telling you the renderings are great and that they're amazing. But every time, that comment right there, have we forgot what the word renovation means? If we're I thought they just only added a few things. It's a damn renovation. But if you want all the other stuff, then build the damn new stadium that we've been talking about for 2 years. If your complaint is that you like Arrowhead and you don't want to change anything, you can't flip around today and then tell me that they're not doing enough and you didn't want a new stadium.
That's the conspiracy, though, is that they don't want this. They don't want to renovate.
Want this.
That's what I'm saying. They don't want to renovate it. So as a result, they're pitching parking and a walkway as the big thing, and a kind of 360 concourse.
We can all nitpick the renovation, but if you're singling out one particular thing, I could tell you, hey, their big thing is permanent restrooms in the parking lot. That's not their featured item. That's not their featured item. Come on.
I mean, I will say, Mark Donovan did sound really excited to say there's going to be a separate rideshare area for you to get dropped off and for you to go to. I mean,
that's how outdated the 50-plus-year-old stadium is. They need a new stadium.
The rideshare is pretty bad. It's not
well, I'm sure it is. Again, I haven't experienced it, but yeah, that's a. I don't know.
I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for the Chiefs if it got voted no. I am with you there, 100%.
Way worse for the Royals.
Way worse for the Royals if that happened, even though they still have some other opportunities. Again, don't subscribe to the theory that they intentionally had a terrible presentation yesterday. If you think it was terrible, I don't.
Sure.
To me, if those renovations are going to cost $800 million, you might as well spend an extra $1.2 million and just build the brand new one.
You're not arguing with either of us.
No, that's what we've. That's why I don't believe it makes sense to renovate a 50-plus-year-old stadium. And they can win the PR battle a little bit if it goes down. It's a weird. I don't know if you'll ever be able to prove it if it happens that way.
It's a good theory.
But
it's a strong theory.
It's not good. Part of it.
Yeah.
Up next, we'll get to what's trending, and then we'll get back into some extensions that might be happening sooner than we thought when it comes to the Chiefs, plus all 32 in the NFL. It's Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values. Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychrysler-dodge-jeepram.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
The needs of modern businesses are always changing, but corporate cards haven't evolved in decades. Until now. Meet Ramp, the all-in-one finance platform that combines corporate cards with spend management software, Ramp is the only card designed to actually help your business spend less, not more. With Ramp, you can set custom controls to stop out-of-policy spend before it even happens. And Ramp software even does expense reports for you. No more manual entries, no more chasing receipts. And with best-in-class accounting integrations, you'll close your books in days, not weeks. Ramp gives you better insights and a real-time view of all company spend, so you can stay focused on the big picture and build a healthier business. Join over 15,000 businesses who have switched to Ramp and start saving an average of 5%. Modern finance runs on Ramp. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. That's ramp.com/sports.
Is switching your wireless service to Total by Verizon easy?
Totalmente.
And you get unlimited 5G data, $25 a line for 4 lines on the unlimited plan at an amazing price with no contracts. Should you switch to Total by Verizon? Definitely.
Totalmente.
Find a store or switch suavemente at totalbyverizon.com. Monthly rate when you activate without a pay plus taxes and fees. Discount begins the month after you enroll. Additional terms apply. See website for data management practices.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
3 little words no parent wants to hear.
My tummy hurts.
And it always seems to happen at the worst times. Like in the middle of the morning rush, when you still have homework to check and lunches to pack, and of course, you're already late for work. Luckily, there's Pepto Kids. Pepto Kids gummies help relieve occasional stomach upsets, turning those 3 words into these 3 words.
I feel better.
Bad time for stomach upsets? Good time for Pepto Kids gummies. Fast support for little tummies.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey, this is Trent McDuffie, and you're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number 1 on What's Trending, Royal Spring Training continues at 2 o'clock. That game over on 1660 the score. Tomorrow we will have Royal Spring Training Baseball on 610 at 2 o'clock. Jordan Lyles, Champagne Lyles on the bump today. That's our guy.
He allowed us to drink the finest champagne you or I would
right.
drink.
We had a lot of people in
They're
studio.
finer champagne. Well, you know,
a lot
couple
of people.
bottles of Dom floating around.
We ended up having 2, remember? We had one
friends over
nicely
at Pure.
donated. Yeah.
Pure. They gave us a bottle, and I purchased a bottle. And
Well,
at
that
a
was-
reasonable
you
price.
lost-
I found one at a good price.
That's right.
I guess you didn't have to. MVS did not catch 200 yards. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to remind me. I actually asked Gold this the other day. Something related to the Chiefs. I had promised that if that happened, I would read some excerpts of 50 Shades of Grey. But I don't remember what it was for, and I'm not going to go back and dig through it. So if you can remember what it is I promised, if it happened, I'll pay up my bet. But I simply do not remember what it was. I was worried it was just simply if the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
No, it wasn't
But I
that.
thought it was more complicated than that.
I can't remember the exact scenario. If it wasn't MVS related, was it?
I don't think so.
And then I thought, was it Harrison Butker winning Super Bowl MVP? I can't remember if that's what it was.
I don't remember.
That might have been it. I can't remember.
That might have
either.
been it. We would have been dangerously close to that if that's the case. But if you remember, I guess, let me know. Next up on What's Trending, yesterday it was announced Dave Merritt will interview for the 49ers defensive coordinator opening. It was just like a month ago. He had said he wanted to wait till his kids got older before he had left the organization. Maybe this was just too good of an opportunity. He is a very good coach. I know normally you're like, oh no, losing a defensive backs coach. He is very good at his job. It's great that he's been able to stay on the staff this long, but also cost of doing business. be this good for this long, someone will come take notice of you. Doesn't mean he's going to take the job.
I was say, it doesn't mean he's
But
going to get
Dave-
it, yeah.
Yeah, but Dave Merritt is going to interview for the 49ers defensive coordinator position.
He'll be a DC at some point. I don't know if this is that opportunity, that he gets it or that he actually leaves. But
Brandon Staley's also interviewing for that, I think,
Yeah, they've
reportedly.
interviewed, a bunch of people in the last day or two. But he's going to be a DC at some point. I think his kid's a really good linebacker here locally. I think his kid's a senior in high school. And that's, to your point, where he had talked about maybe waiting until they were older. I believe his kid is heavily recruited, like 4-star linebacker.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. I think Bink will text me in a second and say the exact schools that have offered him. But I think his kid's like a 4-star linebacker here locally.
Yeah, I remember at some point they were talking about there was a Nagy Merritt Bowl last year at some point where Nagy's kid was taking on Dave Merritt's kid.
Yeah, Nagy's kid was playing in some sub-state basketball last night in the Blue Valley area and hit a big three and a runner to win the game, I believe. So,
wow.
Yeah.
You were watching the old alma mater, huh?
No, I went
Valley?
I didn't go to Blue Valley.
That's right.
No,
Blue
but
Valley's more the state
I had
line.
some family that was at the game.
You were Blue...
Olathe Northwest.
Olathe North. I was like, wait,
I know I had
you were
some
Blue also?
family members that were at the game last
gotcha.
night. Anyway, next up on one string, thinking of college basketball a little bit. Missouri falls to 0-15. Yes, let me say that again. 0-15 in SEC play with a 83-74 loss to Florida. They got 3 games left. Do you think they're going to go 0-18?
Yes. I mean, they're 0-15.
They got
so
Ole Miss.
yes.
They got Ole Miss at home, home to top 15 Auburn, on the road at LSU.
All losses.
You know what? Actually, no. I think they're going to beat Auburn. And I'm only saying that because I watched the entire Auburn game last night and lost money on it
No
with Pete
chance.
Sweeney.
No chance they're
He talked
beating
me into
Auburn.
we're driving over to meet at Kelly's to play Meat Bingo. And he sends me a text. He's like, hey, I'm getting ready to place some money on Auburn. Let's bet on this together. So then all of a sudden I got money on Auburn in a game I haven't researched. +7. Auburn had the lead with 8 minutes to go, lost by 8 points, dribbled it out with 35 seconds to go. So screw Auburn. That's the game Missouri gets.
I'll bet you that doesn't happen. Gladly. I think they're going winless. The only hope they have is the Ole Miss game, but even Ole Miss is 19 wins on the season. Missouri's 8-20.
Maybe LSU too. I don't know. Yeah, I think they lose all 3.
Yeah, LSU's 15-13 on the year.
I assume that's happened before. Going and for not Missouri, I guess.
But for a team in the SEC to go winless in conference play, I'm
Maybe
sure.
I would think so. Lastly, on what's trending, Paul Pogba. You might remember him from multiple World Cups and also one of the bigger European stars there for a while. He's been suspended for 4 years for doping. The Juventus star is kicked out. They take PED stuff real serious and high-level soccer over there. He's going to get a 4-year suspension from the anti-doping tribunal. That official, he tested positive back in September. I remember that news coming out for a banned substance. But he got a 4-year ban as of today.
Jeez. Okay. That's what's trending. On Cody and Gold, I saw the Chiefs just put out that we were talking about leap year stuff earlier. They said, we're not just back-to-back champs. We're back-to-back leap year champs, too. Yeah, that was the tweet that they said.
That is the lamest.
You're Mr. Leap Year guy. You're all about it today. February 29th, 2024.
That's true.
This is all you. Cody's upset he's working on a leap day.
Yeah, I am. I'm not going to apologize for that. This is nonsense. This is a free day of work. You want to work for free?
Someone pointed out, though,
you want to work for free?
Text line said you were off Friday, so it balanced
vacation.
out.
I'm
Someone said it
allowed to have
balanced out.
My contract says 365 days constitutes a year. This is 366. But even despite that, I showed up to work today.
How nice of you.
I didn't just take it off, even though I don't think I owe anybody to work that day. And not only did I do that, I thought since it's a holiday, and a lot of times on holidays you give gifts, I brought you guys presents today.
Oh, boy, I'm scared to
for
see
Leap
what
Day.
this is.
You don't have to be scared.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Why are you scared?
Where is it? Why
are you scared?
Because I have no idea what you brought us.
That's why.
It's a surprise, so it scares you?
Yeah. Well, it's from you. That's why.
No, it's from some nice. So here's what I wanted to get you. So company FOCO, FOCO.
Yeah.
They had produced the full overalls for the Jason Kelsey was dancing in and the Super Bowl after party. I wanted to get you guys those. I'll be honest. That's what I wanted to get.
Yeah, I've seen those before. Those are cool.
Nice.
Turns out, hot item. Sold out. Can't get them anywhere. But instead, I got other stuff from that site, and I'm going to let you guys choose. It's like a mystery grab bag of the thing you want. Would you like to see your options?
Let's see what we got here. So these are items from a site that anybody can purchase from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this stuff is all available for sale.
Okay.
But I got it for you guys.
He's got a big box.
Big box.
For leap year. What a guy. What a guy.
Start with friendship bracelets. You guys get up for either you or your loved ones.
Yep.
Travis Kelce, Mahomes.
Oh, perfect.
Chiefs Kingdom.
Drew will love these. Being a Cincinnati fan, he'll love wearing those.
Sorry, man. I didn't get any Bengals gear. You could use a few more Chiefs things. You live in Kansas City now. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
All right.
I feel like, by the way, we were just at the radio row. Cody's Carrot Top right now. He's just digging into a box of props and bringing out new props.
Hold on. I want you to choose which gift you want. And whatever doesn't get chosen ends up in the Cody and Gold garage sale.
Fair enough. Oh, what do we got? Yeah, what? Ooh.
One KC Wolf bobblehead.
I'll take that.
Large. You don't even know what the other things in the box are.
I'll take the mascot bobblehead.
You want the mascot bobblehead?
I think so. We'll see what else, but that's where I'm trending right now. Yeah. Wow, we have a whole gift pack again.
And there's another bobblehead. I want you to not feel obligated to just go with that one.
Okay.
I was gonna say I will be in dibs if Gold does not want the bobblehead. I will take the bobblehead.
I'm telling you, this is like
I'm a
Carrot
memorabilia
Top.
sucker, so.
Another bobblehead.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Oh, so now you want the Patrick Mahomes one?
Yeah, of course.
I will take the mascot one.
Drew, can you imagine Drew has the Patrick Mahomes one?
They made him taller than KC Wolf. I found that interesting. Why aren't they the same?
He's taller. He's just taller than Casey Wolf.
He's just taller than KC Wolf?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Other option.
Oh, there's another one?
Yeah.
What is that?
This, I'm not kidding. It's like a giant Sherpa blanket that you'll wear like a shirt.
It's like a Snuggie.
Yeah, nice.
It's a Chief Snuggie.
Yeah.
So they just sent a huge gift package. How about this?
Oh, wow.
They felt
Ooh,
bad
that's
because
kinda cool.
I couldn't get the overalls, which is what I really wanted.
Yeah.
So instead,
Nice.
look, I brought you Leap Day presents. Don't say
That's
I showed up to work even though it's free, and I brought you presents.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Cody.
So which
Foco.
present do you want?
I'll the Mahomes bobblehead.
Will you wear the bracelet too, though? Just for a little
Of course. Yeah, I'll put one on right now. Yeah. I'll put thank you for bringing these in. Thanks to
bit?
Foco.
Mahomes bobblehead
Yeah.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll set this bobblehead aside for Drew.
Yep.
And I don't know, text me, 913-586-7610. I'll just choose a random person off the text line. You can have one of these Chief Snuggies.
That thing looks warm. Oh, yeah.
It did look warm.
I
It
was
looked
thinking
soft.
like that. This almost like I know some like when you just like layer up for a stadium gold and everything starts getting too tight because it's like 10 degrees outside and you're not sure which extra layer you can put on to stay warm. I'm not so sure you couldn't just go into a game wearing this thing and just be like, essentially, I'm just in a glorified blanket inside the game.
It's a little weird, but okay. I got the Mahomes friendship bracelet.
I think you're supposed to wear them together. It's like they're all friends.
Oh, you gotta wear them all at once. Is this how
Well, they wear more than one bracelet when they're doing
But
it.
they all look the same. Okay. All right.
That's how it works. There you go.
Okay.
Show it to the camera for the people who watch it.
Okay. Yeah, if you're watching on Twitch, we got one that says Chiefs Kingdom, one that says Kelsey 87, and obviously one that says Mahomes 15.
All available if you're interested in any of them at
There you go.
Foco. But
How about that?
I knew I wanted to make sure that I got you guys some gifts.
That's very nice of you,
Since
Cody.
I had to work on Leap Day, free day
Thank you. Very
means you
kind
guys
of you.
get some free stuff.
Where's your gift? You didn't want anything?
I'll take something off the box too. I don't know. Maybe one of the Snuggies because there's two of them, or maybe a friendship.
This is
bracelet.
great because it'll add to my memorabilia collection that I have of like mascot statues.
Drew's becoming a Chiefs fan. We're getting there. Little by
Enough
little.
winning, he's not going to be able to.
How many more years of seeing your team not win a Super Bowl do you want, really? That's what you got to decide, Drew. How many more years do you want to suffer?
I'd have to go another
So look,
35
we can both wear
at
friendship
least.
bracelets for a little bit.
All right.
I'm used to suffering now. It's okay. It's not.
Someone
like
says
it's
Kelsey bracelet? Question mark. Yes, one of them is a Kelsey 87.
A lot of people interested in the Snuggie, by the way, so I'm going to have to pick a number out of all these.
It's Kelsey Swift bracelet, or is it just Kelsey?
No, it just says Kelsey.
It says Kelsey, Mahomes, and Chiefs Kingdom.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Like when they
Drew
do the
wanted
things,
one that said
everyone-
Taylor Swift. He wanted one that said Taylor Swift.
Oh, I see. Well, that wasn't the one they gave
13
me.
won me some money in Vegas, so I wouldn't be, I guess, totally against the idea.
So
very cool. Nice work. There you go.
I think I've got. Somebody's asking for a bracelet. I think I got maybe more in these somewhere. Also, Gold would probably give his up for your kid after the show.
Cody's gifting me and now reassigning gift. Right
No,
away.
I mean this was your main gift. This is a side gift.
If somebody,
for the rest of the show.
if somebody wants one of the friendship bracelets, we can.
You also
set
said
that
you
up.
didn't really care for it too much, so I think it'd be
the friendship bracelets.
I don't think Gold's ever been a bracelet guy. That might be part of it.
Yeah. Could you like? Do I?
But that's
do
the
I-
thing.
do I
You
seem
make
like-
a whole bunch of them and then you trade them with people.
Well, I mean, I get the concept of the friendship bracelet. I just have never worn any before.
I'm barely a watch guy, so it's just kind of weird to have something on your wrist a little bit.
We're doing our shows at training camp, and I just have both wrists full of friendship bracelets.
It's a pretty good bit, dude. Giving friendship bracelets to the players that we have on the team,
whoever you have on,
pretty
We
good.
might have to get some Cody and Gold friendship bracelets just to give to guests at training camp.
Pretty good.
We might have to do that.
That's not the worst idea of all time. We don't even have to buy them. We can just make them.
So what are we supposed to text to win the item? Give us the next segment. We'll come back next segment. We'll tell you what you need to text in, and we'll go ahead.
I mean,
and
if
give
you've
you a
already
shot.
texted in, I'll choose a random number out of here. If you text, you want the Snuggie, I'll figure it out. I'll choose somebody off of this list.
All right, let's get to all 32.
All 32.
So the combine is going on, and if you're a team with a top pick, it's a much different vibe, right? Like Cody and I were even talking off air. The combine, when you're picking 32, it's hard to get as excited about it. Yeah. You're not talking about trying to draft your franchise quarterback. We already have our franchise quarterback. It's a great spot to be in. But the Commanders and their new owner are looking for a quarterback. They got the number 2 pick. Most likely they're drafting a QB. And their new owner is sitting in on all combine QB interviews with his general manager. It's one of those things where it's not a problem until it is a problem, but I'd be a bit nervous about this. Now, maybe he's just the owner and he wants to just sit back and listen. And if that's all that the new Commanders owner is doing, and he's just sitting back, Josh Harris, then that's good. But the minute we get any report closer to draft day or post-draft that Commanders owner Josh Harris was heavily involved in influence the decision, yada, 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 that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
And this is where...
Although I'd say slippery slope.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think, personally, I would want my owner as a fan sitting there and asking a ton of questions. Now, if he's just sitting there and listening and wants, it's a huge deal for his franchise, I get that. This is where I know yesterday the owner grades came out, and we all know the grades for the ownership were more related to investing in locker rooms than it was actually how they view the person. But Clark Hunt got an F-. This is another reason why I don't care about the grades. I've always said this about Clark Hunt that I really do appreciate versus Jerry Jones and others. I'm not saying when there's a massive deal that's being signed, the $500 million extension for Mahomes, is Clark Hunt involved? Is he signing off? Of course he is. But when it comes to Brett Veach deciding to sign ex-free agent, I think they don't get as involved as some other owners do. And that's one thing I do appreciate. He's, of course, well aware of what's going on. He's writing the check.
He gets asked to be told before they make major decisions, but I don't think he tells them how to do it.
But I don't think he's telling them who to draft. And there are other owners that we already know this. Dave Tepper in Carolina. I don't know what Tepper's grade was as an owner. My guess is their facility might be newer, so it was better. That's the kind of stuff that matters more to me as a fan than it does hearing that whether or not he got the players a new practice locker room.
I just want you to trust that you made the right hire. Trusting you made the right hire is not sitting in on meetings you don't need to sit in on. Because the problem is, just like anything else, is Gold, the pressure that exists in there. When you all sit around, if you're just sitting in there to observe so you know how the business works, whatever, like we said.
No problem.
But if you even offer I really liked that Drake May kid, you offer one little piece of commentary, and it is really hard. As you know, that is the person who employs you and gives you a check and ultimately has the power to fire you. It is hard not to let that
because someone says if I was an owner, I would do the exact same thing. I would want to be aware of what is going on and in the room. But I also hired you to be my GM because
I'm good at business.
Because you're the football mind. Yeah. It's the reason why the Chiefs have Brett Veach as their GM and Mark Donovan is the business guy, not trying to have Mark Donovan make football decisions. So I know Carl Peterson did both. At times that worked, at times it didn't. I would rather have a football guy make football decisions when it comes to that and let the business people make business decisions. That's why I think it's a little bit of a problem.
So when I look at it, I'm looking at a GM standpoint as well. This is obviously a busy time for GMs who have either gotten themselves in trouble or remain in trouble. Chris Ballard has learned a lesson, and I will give him credit for that. He is partially to blame for why Andrew Luck ran the hell away from the NFL. Didn't protect the man. Just let him get wiped off the planet. Now, look, he inherited that situation, and Andrew Luck was already in a little bit of trouble. But the fact that it went from there added to the idea that he wasn't going to be around very long. Ballard didn't try to keep him around longer by protecting him. He said that he's not going to rush Anthony Richardson back. He's going to let him take his sweet-ass time coming back, and that's what he should do. That's also why they're tagging Michael Pittman. Sorry, Chiefs fans. That's also why they're going to bring in more talent. I always think in those first couple of years of a quarterback, the best way to find out if they've got it is to load them up. That's part of why I would understand these teams that would still be interested in Justin Fields. For the first couple of years, Gold, they didn't. They did finally load him up with some talent this year, and it got better for Justin Fields overall. Oh, shocker. So if you're Anthony Richardson and you're Chris Ballard, learn the valuable lesson and put as much talent on offense as humanly possible around him and then figure it out. I know you want to win a Super Bowl right away and build on both sides of the ball. Screw that. Find out if Anthony Richardson is worthy of giving a contract to in a couple of years and surround him with talent, surround him with an offensive line to protect him. Don't get your guy hurt like Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I think that they shouldn't even have played him last year. He ended up getting hurt, but hopefully he'll be able to recover from that. You mentioned Kyle Pitts. If I'm the Falcons GM, here's what I'm doing. I'm not getting rid of Kyle Pitts, but instead I'm giving a third-round pick to get Justin Fields. I'm giving a second-round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I am drafting a wide receiver at 8, and then I'm also signing a right tackle in free agency. That's the offseason plan I think that the Falcons should have, because if you think of a roster with, forget the quarterback's important, but if you have Fields, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and then Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, you've got one of the best offensive lineups in the league, I think, right then and there in front of you. And you're in an easy division. You're in the NFC. That bodes well for the Falcons.
Yeah, Fields has been the rumor for a while. I think that makes.
I think I'd rather have Cousins with the Falcons, though.
There was a video on Twitter. His manager,
free money, don't have to.
Yeah,
give up the compensation.
Yeah, there's a video right now on social media that's going around. His manager was taking a video, and Justin was jumping up and down, was excited, and someone in the background, you could kind of hear it as, "You ready to go home?" And
was that Justin jumping up and down, or his manager jumping up and down?
His manager took the video of Justin Fields.
Okay.
I think. I think that's the consensus of the
Maybe
video.
he just meant go home because he had dinner waiting. You don't know.
No, the odds
Atlanta.
market has shifted towards Atlanta for him to be.
They closed the market on that for a little bit.
For
didn't
24 hours, yeah. It's back up, and Fields' landing spot, the favorite is the Falcons.
They've got one of the best defenses already in the league in terms of playmakers. They sign Snead, they make it only better. They keep they keep some draft picks that are important enough to build the roster up for Raheem Morris. I think it's
3 good moves you can win that division.
Should do. Yes.
Yeah, it's a winnable. They'll be, if they get Justin Fields, and even if they don't make some of the other moves, they'll be the favorite to win that division. The Saints are still a mess. The Bucks, I understand Baker was a great story, but Mike Evans is probably gone. They just cut Shaq Barrett this week as well. And Carolina, we all know they're a long ways away. If they have the quarterback, which we still don't know if that's the right.
I don't even know if the Saints are still under the cap or still over the cap or not, but they've made a lot of moves to.
Cam Jordan restructured today.
I wonder if they're still sitting. They're still in a tough spot financially. So I think the Falcons can win it if they make those moves and maybe even make a run. Who knows?
Oh, is that going to be your team next year? I'm getting a sense that's going to be your team.
I was also debating today's All 32 being the Cardinals could be the surprise team that goes from worst to double-digit wins.
I think the Bears will be the Lions of this past year. That's my pick. Bears will be the Lions of this past year. Not to say that they go to an NFC title game, but that'll be the team that everybody loves. They'll draft Caleb Williams, and everybody will start talking
draft
themselves.
a wide receiver.
That'll be a compliment, honestly. The Lions performed.
Of course.
The Lions actually lived up to that. Before we were talking about the Lions, you might want to prove you actually done something.
Because remember, Chicago finished, if you look at what the Lions the year before didn't make the postseason, but they had some momentum late. The Bears actually played a lot better football down the stretch. Yeah. And if they went and actually go and get Caleb Williams, I could see them being very similar. Also, they happen to be in the same division. There's a lot of similarities, I think, perhaps there. So you're going.
Depends if they can get that CJ Stroud.
I think the Falcons can be that team, but where did they finish in the division? Third? Third.
Yeah, but they were in first 2 weeks to go, just like everyone else.
Yeah.
In the last month, every single team in that division, I think, led it except for the Panthers.
So maybe their story is like the line. I guess, sure. That'll be my team for next year, I guess, is the Falcons, if they do those moves.
Be a popular team.
I do laugh a little bit. The only other thing, because we were talking about all 32 topics. I was like, I wonder what I want to do, what I want to talk about. The only other one I considered was another GM one, because it's that time of year. It's the Combine. Was John Lynch being like, we just got to build around Purdy. I'm like, build around? He had, build what? Got Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and a good offensive line.
They were fully built.
Build what? Yeah, that was built. That truck, adding some pinstriping? What do you add? What do you mean? That thing was done built. You just lost the game. It happens, but you got to a Super Bowl with a rookie, with a second-year quarterback, a third-year quarterback, barely in the league. You're built around him. You just got to try to win one more game.
And then fire the DC afterwards to scapegoat somebody.
That apparently is a Shanahan thing. I didn't realize that that's a Shanahan. It's a McVay tree thing. They are, if you were off the Sean McVay tree, you are 50% more, it's 50% less time on average as their DC for anybody who comes off the McVay tree. They love to just be like, Offense kicks ass. Get the hell out. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Beat it.
I'm glad Zach
This
Taylor's
is
been
definitely
patient.
your fault.
Lou Anarumo's been around for a little while.
He's the exception to it.
He is the only exception from that tree.
Because, historically, they only average 1.7. I don't remember. What it was like 2 weeks
Jeez.
ago. 1.7 years
That's it?
is all DC's last, on average, in Sean McVay coaching tree hires. And himself. He didn't keep his DCs around either.
Now, I guess in this case, Raheem Morris got
Left,
you know, it's not like you would think it's not like they're firing all these guys. They're just getting out. You know, Raheem Morris.
It's both. It's right.
Raheem Morris left for a head coaching gig, right?
Some of them are fired though, like in Shanahan's case.
Yeah.
He axed the guy like a week later.
Sure, and I still don't understand why they fired him in particular. But
I don't know. They did fine. I mean, like
there was some disagreement in scheme, I guess, during the regular season, like between Shanahan and Steve Wilkes. Yeah, Steve Wilkes.
They were the number one. They were one of the top 3 defenses in the entire
I know,
NFL.
but
They might have been the number 2 scoring defense.
There was
in
a
the entire
philosophy
NFL.
difference. Like even in the Super Bowl, there was a moment when Kyle Shanahan threw the tablet down, disagreement on what kind of coverage and what the plan was for that particular play. So they weren't on the same page. Even if at times they were successful, it sounded like Kyle Shanahan didn't like the thought process.
I was going to say, they still did very well.
Well, yeah, I'm not used to wearing this thing, man.
It just feels kind of weird, so you just kind of want to.
And I feel like I'm going to break them. I keep going like this, and
it's fine.
Thanks for the gift. I'll have to open up this.
Thank you, Cody.
Mahomes bobblehead.
Oh yeah, I want to see what it actually.
I'll do
looks
that.
like
I'll do that during the break. When we come back, we'll get to what we thought we were done with, which was Chiefsaholic. But oh man, his lawyer on the courthouse steps yesterday gave us another gem.
You're listening to Cody and Gold. Don't miss the Chiefs Red Half Hour every weekday starting at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
This is the time of year to enjoy life. Stop letting that pain in your joints keep you from doing what you want to do this spring. Call QC Kinetics now. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. I'm talking long-lasting joint pain relief with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. Pro athletes have been doing this for decades, but now this life-changing treatment is available for you. So you can walk and run and climb stairs and play golf and move again pain-free. No pain pills, no risky surgery. This is an all-natural solution. QC Kinetics has tens of thousands of satisfied patients who have reclaimed their mobility. Take action now and live your best life this spring and summer. And it's a great use of your tax refund check. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics off 435 in State Line and in Gladstone. 816-412-6299.
My 13-year-old acts like a puppy again. Almost overnight, she's a different dog.
Perfect poops. When people switch their dog's food to the farmer's dog, the effects can seem like magic. But there's no magic involved. It's simply real meat and vegetables with all the nutrients dogs need, instead of highly processed pellets. No tricks, just smarter, healthier pet food delivered in packs portioned for your dog. It's amazing what real food can do. Get 50% off your first order at thefarmersdog.com/no-magic.
If you've thought about bettering your vision, what's been the biggest holdup for you? Maybe you haven't found the right place that you trust, the right place to help you find the best vision plan and path going forward. It took me some time. I mean, many, many years ago, I was told I wasn't even a candidate for LASIK. And then I found my friends over at Dury Vision. I called them up for a free consultation. I also went online to duryvision.com, and they laid out an exact plan for me. Your path, essentially, to better vision. They understand that everybody's eyes are unique and different. They specialize in vision correction procedures that meet the different needs of each patient. There's not one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to Dury Vision. They're the best in Kansas City with over 65,000 vision correction procedures. So you just got to take the first step to not having to wake up and need contacts or glasses like me. 913-491-3330. 913-491-3330. Or you can go online to duryvision.com. That's DURRIE vision.com.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell and Cordell's Missouri or Kansas attorneys. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. CordellCordell.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find a repair shop with our shop referral program. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Progressive presents Precious Moments.
Yeah, I caught my first fish, Dad!
Great job, buddy. He's a beauty.
Thanks for taking me fishing. Love you, Dad.
I love you too, son.
The exchange you just heard didn't actually happen, but it could. Bundle your home and other vehicles with Progressive, and you could use the savings to make sure the boat's always ready for those magical father-son moments. Who knows, maybe someday he'll actually like fishing. So keep the dream alive and the savings coming with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Honey, come here, quick.
What is it?
Shh, check it out. The prices on all these highly rated tequilas are amazing. Total Wine must have made a mistake.
Nope, they always have the best deals in town. Remember that amazing reposado your sister brought over last week? See, it's right here.
Whoa, that's a low price. I mean, whoa, that's a low price.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on Carol. She's more focused on hitting a high note than the car in front of her. Why pay a rate based on anyone else? Get one based on you with DriveWise from Allstate.
Not available in Alaska or California, subject to terms and conditions. Rates are determined by several factors, which vary by state. In some states, participation in DriveWise allows Allstate to use your driving data for purposes of rating. While in some states, your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Generally, safer drivers will save with DriveWise. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit GetJim.com.
How's the bobblehead looking? What do you think?
It's set up. I don't know. I might give it to my nephew or one of my nephews. I'm not sure. It's because it's kind of like a piggy bank. It's kind of like a piggy bank Mahomes bobblehead.
He's got a safe.
Nice. Yeah.
Very cool. I like it. But you have two nephews, so.
I know. Well, that's the thing that sometimes happens. It's like,
you could steal Drew's. You could steal Drew's, and then you'd have
steal
to.
Drew's. Because it's like, what do I, you say, oh, it's for both of you. Sometimes that works. Otherwise, I have three nephews, by the way, but just two that are older.
Well, one's a baby.
Yeah, one's not gonna, fight over it the way two of them will. So I don't know. I could just say it's for both of them, because otherwise, if I just give it to one of the nephews, then it's all I feel like you can't do that. I feel like you have to give one to each. So I don't know. I'll figure that out.
If you want this one,
you're too nice, Drew. Yeah. You keep your. Yeah. That's your present. Gold has one present. And, he might put it on his shelf behind his little, video thing in his apartment. We don't know.
Yeah, not sure yet. Not 100% sure. We got the bracelets.
I still keep messing with them.
That I might have to take off. You have to take them
off?
I might have to take them off.
Is it just like, is it making you itchy?
No, but I think we might be giving these away.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I did promise somebody who said they wanted it for their daughter. So I didn't want to, I'll put them back in the thing. These are game used bracelets. They were on my wrist during the show. There might be more in there. I think there might have been 3 or 4 packets of those. If not, whoever I promised to on there, I'll figure out how to get them to you. And for those who don't, just assume that if I find an extra one in that box, they're probably going to be a Cody and Gold garage sale item. Benefiting.
We'll be doing that again.
Yeah, a couple months.
Going to be closer to the summertime, but we will do the Cody and Gold garage sale. 4th annual, right?
Man, That's almost 5. That's a real
I
accomplishment.
believe it's the 4th year.
Yeah, it is. 4th year. We didn't do it the first year. There was a little first, we were hosting most of the shows from my basement in Waldo at that time, in my old 750 square foot house. And now we get to be in studio. So maybe that's when we started doing it.
So yesterday, Chiefsaholic pled guilty to the 11 robberies, and he's facing up to 50 years in prison. Sentencing still has to take place. Almost $500,000, or over $500,000 in restitution. And he has to return the frame piece painting that's autographed to Patrick Mahomes. I thought we were kind of done with it after talking about yesterday, and then his lawyer once again had an all-time statement speech on the courthouse steps, and it's very fitting. Drew has added some extra effect to it. Everything that you hear is exactly what the attorney said, except for some music in the background, but it's an all-timer.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs Kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support.
That's Matthew Merriman, the attorney for Chiefsaholic, once again with a gem of a press conference.
Why is he talking about him like he's a hero? He just pled guilty in court.
Armed robbery.
For multiple counts of armed robbery in which he could face up to 50 years in jail. Now, presumably, typically when you're like, I feel bad for what I did and admit what you did versus go to trial, they don't always hand you the maximum sentence. So maybe he won't get 50 years in jail. I could listen to that speech with 7 different pieces of music under it. Like, I don't just want it with that music. I want it with the Independence Day music. I want it from Friday Night Lights. I want it with every piece of I want it with the music from Hoosiers. I just want it with every piece of inspirational sports music ever. I just want that speech over it.
That, and remember, these were his comments from August, too.
This is not Chiefsaholic's last drive. And he believes, and we believe, that when the final whistle blows and all of the facts are known, that he is going to be redeemed in the eyes of his community, in the eyes of his fans, and in the eyes of the Chiefs Kingdom.
Well, that definitely didn't happen. That was in August. He has since pled guilty.
He's not been.
He's not been redeemed. I don't think that's happened.
I don't think that's the word I use.
He still has not been sentenced. Again, he faces up to 50 years in prison. I have no idea what he ultimately will get. But yes, we need more of his, more of these speeches from the courthouse steps with different types of music. I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay, hey Drew, if my computer's pulled up, will you get his regular speech with no music ready?
Yeah, I got it.
I will pull up the Friday Night Lights music.
Let me know when you're ready.
Hold on, I still got an ad playing. Don't turn me up yet, Drew. Do not turn it up yet. I don't know what this ad's about. Could be about anything. We don't want any of that trouble.
Okay.
So I don't want you to accidentally.
You're potted up but not on yet.
Okay, good. Because, we run into some problems. Okay. I am ready. You ready to go?
Yes, let's go.
Let the music play for just a second, and then let's hear the speech under the Friday Night Lights music. Really? It's not gonna
not going to let you do it, huh? Let me know, man. We're all, just waiting on you,
It's unfortunate.
Just waiting. Are you muted over there,
No, it looks like everything's turned up. It's just not going to work.
Everything's turned up on my end.
That's disappointing.
What just a massive letdown. Can you play it on your end? Can you play the Friday Night Lights music on your end?
I mean, when I looked up Friday Night Lights earlier, it was like the whole soundtrack. Is there a certain one that you had pulled up?
I have a link available. If that would do it. God, what a massive disappointment. This is just such a huge let. Now I don't even feel like it's worth it almost. I gotta log into my email on this computer. I'm not even. Just Google Friday Night Lights theme music, no words. That's literally what I pulled up. Just search that. It's the movie one, but it's the same.
We had the hip hop intro at one point too. Remember, from the documentary.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
This is not Chiefsaholic's last drive. And he believes, and we believe, that when the final whistle blows and all of the facts are known, that he is going to be redeemed in the eyes of his community, in the eyes of his fans, and in the eyes of the Chiefs' kingdom.
Just so many good choices for it. Dude, there's several choices. I see Friday Night Lights music, season 1, episode 10, instrumental. That would work. Really, again, any inspirational music.
It's excellent saying you let your knee hit the ground. See, Chiefsaholic, when he stumbles, his knee doesn't hit the ground. Your knee hit the ground.
I don't know why
man.
it doesn't play. It plays other things. It just apparently doesn't play things off of.
Do you think in prison does he introduce himself as Chiefsaholic to inmates?
1,000%.
You think?
Absolutely. That's how he will want to be referred to for the rest of his life.
I don't think that's happening. Someone earlier suggested that that's part of the punishment, actually, is that he has to agree to never refer to himself as Chiefsaholic again.
Tell him he can't become my Chiefsaholic.
Is this what you're looking for, Cody?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs' kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs' kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support.
So good. This music's great for it. God, I want to do this with so many different pieces of music now. I could do one a day for the next
you could put
year.
anything under it, and it would be great.
Could we just do like one a day for like a week? 2 a day for a week? We just set times during the show to see which one we like the best. Oh, man. Someone's mentioned the Titanic music would be great.
Yeah.
The music from Endgame after Tony snaps his fingers, Ric Flair's intro. Because you could make it sound more like he's giving like an inspirational speech with some like not sad music behind it. You know, you could choose upbeat a little bit. Someone mentioned the Top Gun theme from the new movie.
I mean,
like
the Chariots of Fire, Chariots of Fire. Yeah, like good. I mean, the attorney Matthew Merriman, Cody learned earlier, he's a UMKC grad.
He is.
I feel like you asked earlier the question, do you think that Chiefsaholic scripted this? No, I don't. No, I think this is all the attorney.
I do too.
I think this is the attorney. He knows his client. He's going to have fun with it, basically. Even though, again, we're talking about a very serious sentence coming up for this gentleman.
Multiple counts of armed robbery.
But for Chiefsaholic, yeah. The attorney's going to milk. He's guaranteed himself a spot in every single future documentary that comes out.
And
guaranteed. And this audio will be used.
Don't worry. That ESPN one's not the first or last
Someone
one.
wants us to do our intro song in the background to this as well. They want
It'd have to be the instrumental.
They want the instrumental.
I'm not sure that one would work.
That's not as good. Yeah.
I think Chariots of Fire.
Sarah McLachlan. Like any of the Sarah McLachlan, like from the dog rescue commercials.
Andrew, look up an instrumental of Chariots of Fire. Let's try one more today. We can get to more of these this week.
You said what? Chariots of Fire?
I'm fully
Chariots
invested.
of Fire, yeah.
But look for the instrumental version again. Always important. The words gum it up. We don't need that. Just like searching.
By the way, you guys, I could just do this for 4 hours. I'm sure that'd be great radio. But just for 4 hours, I could just do this.
I'm not kidding. I could spend the remainder of the hour and 18 minutes of this show just playing.
All right, I got it. Ready?
All right, you got it? All right, go ahead.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs Kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support.
That's so good. We need more suggestions. We're going to do more of these either today, tomorrow.
Yeah, over the next
the entire month of March. I don't know, but those won't be the last couple.
Maybe until he's sentenced. We might have to keep this up. Mm-hmm.
I just love it so much.
The first that was great.
It's so good. Just so good.
Coming up in about 15 minutes or so, we'll get back into how we view the current dynasty and the key members. And one name we don't think is actually part of the core group anymore. Might surprise you. That's coming up in 15 minutes. But let's get to the random question.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew. Over on the text line, 913-586-7610. Of course, you can hit us up on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. Always available there as well. I wanted to ask a question today related to movies because I was trying to decide what the proper etiquette is here or just how you handle it. So, Dune 2 coming out, right? I am interested in seeing it, not just because like our very first producer on the show was so excited about that movie. He was literally talking about it like 2 years before it released, I swear to God. But because I thought the first one was very good, although kind of heavy. So it's kind of a heavy movie. It's kind of a longer movie. I want to see the second one, but it's been too long since I've seen the first one. Do you guys watch the first one before going to see the sequel? Or do you just say, screw it, I'll probably remember most of it, and I'll just go see the sequel now?
Most of the time, I'll go back and watch the first one, but I'll also ask someone that's already seen, like, do I need to have seen the first one? Right? There's sometimes where you don't always have to have that background. There's some where, like, you need to watch the first one before you go and see this one. So I think it truly depends. A lot of times I do like to go back, and so that way I feel like I didn't miss something. But there are a few where, I've been told by friends on a movie or whatever, like, yeah, you don't need to watch the first one. You'll be just fine. And so I'll skip it. I usually rely on that.
Is this if you're going to a movie theater to watch it?
Yeah, like let's say next week I'm going to go see Dune 2 in theaters. Do you watch the first one's on Netflix? Do you watch the first one before going to see the second one?
I feel like for some reason I'm less inclined to watch the first one if I'm going to a theater to watch it. If, for example, Extraction 2 came out with Chris Hemsworth, I watched the first one right before and just fed right on into the next one just to do it.
Someone might be right.
You're more inclined to do that.
The text line might have it right. Depends on the movie. Like, am I going to go watch Fast and the Furious 7 before I watch 8? No, I'm probably good. I could probably just watch 8. Doesn't really matter if I've missed some story element out of the previous one. But this one is designed as a they are directly connected. They are back to back. What happens in the first one absolutely matters in the second one. I think I'm going to have to watch this 2.5-hour movie again before I go see the new one.
Or maybe you just, if you don't, while you're watching the second one, while you're watching the second one, things from the first movie pop into your head again. Oh, I remember when that happened. Or like if they reference it.
I just think if the movie specifically also is called like blank part 1, part 2, then they're telling you got to watch part 1. Yeah, there's some movies that
I've seen part 1, but I'd have to see it again.
You just don't remember. You just refresher.
I mean, it's just like you watch enough stuff. I don't remember every detail.
I do that with new series,
and I haven't read if I had read the book, I'd probably feel different.
I'll do that with new TV, or not a new, but a new season of a TV show. Like before the final season of Succession, I went back and and watch the last 2 episodes of the prior season before the new season.
You just did two.
So
I'll
watch
2 episodes.
Yeah, I usually watch the last 2, so I'm fresh on what happened towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
before.
with TV shows, it's more common.
If I've already watched the TV show, like if it's just a refresher, not if I've never watched the show.
Will you watch all of it or just some of it? Let's say you're getting ready to watch the final season of Better Call Saul, and you know it's coming out in a month. Do you go ahead and watch all 4 seasons of Better Call Saul sometimes? And
If
then
I've never
kick
seen the
into
show ever?
No. If you've already seen the season.
Oh, no, I don't go all the way back. No, I'll watch whatever the most recent part was.
Everyone is like, you're going to be so lost at the first one. I've seen the first one.
They call it. I really think it's as simple as they call it part 1 and part 2. So I mean, they're telling you got to watch part 1.
When did that come out?
I never saw Dune. I know we talked about it a ton on the show back when
Didn't watch it, huh?
2 producers ago.
He was talking. I mean, I'm telling you, he was talking about it like a year before it came out.
Yeah.
Did you read the book, Cody?
No,
because the book is like this. It is
a current book I'm reading is like
a thick
750 pages. So I guess I'm not afraid of a thick book.
The book based on there's a movie, or what book are you reading?
It's based on a TV show. It's based on the Apple TV show Silo. It's called Wool. These people who live in an underground silo. It's very good.
I guess a side random question. Are you less inclined? I guess for Gold, this doesn't apply to you because you don't read too much. But Cody,
the way he said that to you,
damn,
God, just crushed you for reading because you don't read too much. You made it sound like you can't read. So good. Anyway, sorry, Drew. Go ahead.
Are you less inclined to watch a movie if you've read the book?
No. I'm fine to see a movie if it's based. I don't care.
You don't?
All the books
I do.
All the books I read are not based on movies or TV shows.
Sure.
So, like, I'll watch a movie having not read the book. I'll read the book. If I read the book, I think I'm a lock to watch the movie. I'll say that. If a movie is based, if I like the book. If I like the book and they put out a movie or TV series, I'm going to watch the movie or TV series. If I like the book, why? That's a natural one. But I don't feel the obligation to be like, wow, what a great TV series. Better go find the book. That transition's not as common.
For me, I never. If I've watched the movie, I might go read the book after. But I guess an example would be.
Oh yeah.
The Maze Runner movies had come out, but I read the books. I do not. I read the books first. I've never seen the movies, and I'm not going to see the movies because the books always give you more than what the movie gives you.
Sure, but they can still be entertaining.
That's why.
That's interesting. I mean,
you're just never going to watch it?
I think it's because if you read a book and you picture what the person what a person looks like in your mind, and then you see it on film, and you're like, this is not. I don't like this because
a lot of stuff is left out.
Well, for that reason as well.
Out.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it probably makes more sense to see the movie and then go back and read the book because then you're like, I'm really into the series, and then you go back and read it, and you actually even get more detail than the movie had.
I guess so, but yeah.
If I read the book first, I'm not watching the movie.
I think you should. I think it because like sometimes I think the adaptations. Well, it depends. Sometimes the adaptations of those things are good. Sometimes they're not, but sometimes they're good. A lot of people liked both the Harry Potter books and the movies, even though you get way more out of the books.
Yeah.
Or the Hunger Games trilogy that people are.
I haven't read the Hunger Games books, but I've watched the movies. So
if you liked Maze Runner, you probably like the books.
Oh, yeah, probably. The movies are great.
Now we're just getting into book recommendations. What kind of books do you like, Alex? When you I
told you I haven't read a last full book I read was in college.
What kind of book do you think you'd like?
I have a couple sports books, but I never finished reading them.
Yeah, see, I don't read much sports.
I don't either.
I like historical nonfiction. I like just straight sci-fi fiction. I'm all over.
Historical fiction is fun.
Yeah. The book I suggest to anybody, I'm convinced any person on this planet would like, is now I can't think of the name of the book. Oh my God.
Like there's just certain things. I don't think I'll ever be the person that likes to just sit back and read a book. Like I was driving in my driving home from work yesterday in my apartment complex, and there was someone, or not yesterday, whenever the weather was 2 days ago, when we had awesome weather. Not yesterday, it was still cold, because that would make this guy. He's got a book. He's walking at a decent pace, shirtless, just reading this. But I'm like, I'm never gonna be that guy, okay? Like I'm like,
I'm not gonna be that. Why do you do books on tape?
Audiobooks?
Yeah, why don't you do audiobooks? Audiobooks count as reading, I've been told by many librarians.
I'll be honest, some of this is going to sound really weird, but it's because of what we specifically do for a living. I have my headphones on for 4 hours a day already. I don't want to be at home and have another 3 hours of my headphones on.
Why headphones? You just played over a speaker.
Oh, yeah, but wait, do you want me to sit on my couch and just have audiobook playing in my living room?
While you're doing dishes or cooking or...
I don't cook.
Vacuum... Like I'll listen to a podcast or like.
See, I just can't do like if I'm home and obviously I'll have like the TV on and I'm actually watching something, whether it's on Netflix or a sporting event or anything. I can't just sit on my couch and just listen to someone read me a book. Basically, I can't do that.
If you're sitting on your couch, I would just say just read the book. I'm just like,
well,
what about driving, commuting?
Yeah, the only time I've ever done the audiobook is on a long drive. Like when we were driving back from Chicago last summer, a buddy of mine, we had an audiobook on the whole drive back. Okay. That makes the 8-hour drive back from Chicago not seem too bad. That was the exception. I don't even remember the name of that book, though. But yeah. I nodded off, I'm sure, at some point.
You don't remember?
I wasn't driving.
I feel like that would be easy to do with an audiobook. If you're not driving, to nod off.
Someone's giving me some Someone says, picturing Gold sitting on his couch staring at nothing while listening to an audiobook. Gave me serial killer vibes. Yeah, like, I can't just sit on my couch.
That's not what I'm describing.
I can't
I'm
just
talking about, like, if I'm doing dishes or cooking, I could have an audiobook on. Or doing yard work with headphones. I don't mind wearing headphones another time, but I understand.
It sounds like the only situation for Gold in his situation would be on a drive when he would listen to an audiobook.
Yeah, but you could do that. 30 minutes a day, right? 15 minutes home, 15 minutes back. 30 minutes a day, you'd get through a book every couple of weeks.
Can you claim that you read the book if you didn't actually read it?
Here we go again.
The answer on this is yes. And the reason, I used to be on the side of, I don't know, does that really count?
You still read the book if you have an audiobook.
My wife is a librarian. She's been a librarian for a very long time. She says 1,000%. Audio, it counts the same. Listening to it, still reading it, I guess. That makes sense.
Okay.
We're going to get you an audiobook. And then I want a book report on this show.
Oh, thanks, Professor.
I'm practicing for later. I want a full
Someone
book
says,
report.
books aren't for everyone, Gold. You're good. Some of us should just stick to sports. Yeah, look, I'll be honest. I'll just tell you, like tonight, if you're telling me at 6 o'clock, I don't even know what college basketball game's on. I don't even know what NBA game's on. I would still so much rather sit on my couch. If I'm going to still sit on my couch for 3 hours tonight, which is probably what I'll do, I would so much rather find something on Netflix or a sporting event than sit there in the quiet reading a book. That's just not who I am, man. It's just not. Like, I get it. There's like this, I feel like this perfect, like, to me, unrealistic world where, I'm just sitting in my bed at 8:30 and I've got the light on next to me and I'm just reading a book, sipping on a glass of tea. Like, this is not realistic. What are we doing?
Pretty much, you're describing my wife, so I'd be very careful. This is exactly how she is every day.
But I don't mean that's not me. That's not me.
Do you listen to music, Cody, when you read, or do you like? For example, I normally don't read just sitting. I have to have something playing in the background, and it could be, I don't know.
So like
meditation music, just going in my headphones.
When we were flying out to the Super Bowl, I was reading a book. I got through like 250 pages just while we were traveling to Las Vegas.
Sure.
And I had music on the entire time.
You read 250
Wait,
pages.
hold on. You
on
were
the way
reading
there?
while listening to music?
Yeah.
With words.
Hold on. Wait. Stop.
With words?
Well, I don't want to hear I don't want to hear the like mouth breathers on the airplane or at the airport.
Right.
I'd rather just
So you're listening to music and you're reading at the same time.
Is this lyrics?
That would drive me. That's too much going on in my head.
Lyrics coming through your.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lyrics. I can never do that.
That doesn't bother me.
Yeah, like
I
Cody's
can never
not
do
listening to like jazz in the background while.
No, I think
that would make more sense.
I legitimately, for part of the book, was listening to Megan Thee Stallion because that's what Aaron Ladd suggested. So I was reading and listening to that for a while.
Cody, I just pictured Cody's reading a Cody. I can imagine Cody's Cody's reading a book on like World War II, and then WAP comes on in the background.
It was her new album. It was not that song, but yeah, sure.
Okay. That's the random question of the day. Up next, we get back into some football. I'm sure at some point in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Chiefsaholics attorney again in a different way. But one member of the Chiefs dynasty run that maybe is not part of the core anymore. We'll explain.
Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio and the Odyssey app.
Barbecue put Kansas City on the map, and Smokehouse Barbecue has been serving up the best barbecue in Kansas City for over 35 years. Hey, it's Bob Fesco. When my family and I want delicious baby back ribs, burnt ends, and hickory pit beans, we head to Smokehouse Barbecue. Of course, no trip to Smokehouse is complete without their Cajun chicken wings, which are the best wings on the planet. Visit them in Independence, Zona Rosa, or Gladstone, or at SmokehouseBBQ.com. For over 35 years, locally owned and family operated, it's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Hey, it's Kling. There are many reasons I love Hy-Vee, the great values, the selection, the service, and I love to rack up fuel savers. And you can as well. Shop Hy-Vee on Monday, earn a fuel discount equal to the high temperature on Sunday and the amount you spend. If the high is 68 degrees on Sunday, I'll save 68 cents per gallon when I spend $68 on Monday. Heat up the savings every Monday through April 29th only at Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee.
Must look up code 80007 at checkout or promo code HEATUP when shopping online. See store for details.
The best deals at the pump happen when you shop the aisles of Hy-Vee with help from the first Warn 5 weather team.
This is KCTV5 Chief Meteorologist Luke Doris. Watch KCTV5 Sunday night at 10 for our official high temperature.
Whatever it was on Sunday means you save on Monday with your Hy-Vee Perks card. If the high was 63 degrees, you save 63 cents a gallon when you spend at least $63.
Watch First Warn 5 weather on KCTV5 this Sunday at 10.
There's nothing quite like the Honda Accord Hybrid and the CR-V Hybrid when it comes to exhilarating efficiency. With hybrid technology and thrilling capability, these vehicles deliver an electrifying performance on every drive. But what truly makes these hybrids special is the unwavering determination that inspires everything we do. Redefine your driving experience with Honda, KBB.com's best value brand of 2023.
Based on 2023 brand image awards from Kelly Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix. Pass it on.
You've heard it said, he's a diamond in the rough. Or maybe, diamonds are forever. Here's something else I've learned about diamonds. They're just pieces of coal put under pressure for a long, long, long time. So when I start feeling like I want to give up, I think about that little piece of coal. And if that piece of coal can make something of itself by not giving up, so can I. Persistence is in you. Pass it on. From PassItOn.com.
Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single-barrel bourbon to try. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 12:30 p.m. Pacific. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action, so don't miss the thrill. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
Always find what you love at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single-barrel bourbon to try. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More.
Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Vern's Hot Stove, Thursday night starting at 6 o'clock. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City. WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
One o'clock hour here on a Thursday. It's Cody and Gold. Get to what's trending in a half hour, and I'm sure some more mix downs of the attorney for Chiefsaholic set to some.
I can't have enough of those, to be honest.
Dramatic music. We'll do that before we get off the air at 2. I promise we'll at least have one more later on.
Not bad. Out of the 100 text song suggestions we got from the text line, 99 were text song suggestions, and one person was move on. Some of us don't care about Chiefsaholic.
Yeah, it's all good.
Hope
your day gets better.
And honestly, I get it. You don't have to care about it. I do, because that guy's hilarious. Even if you don't care about Chiefsaholic, can't we admit that a lawyer saying that in a public forum about his client making 700 football puns is entertaining? I think we can all at least agree on that.
Of course. And that's why I still think the attorney did it on purpose. I think that was his own doing. The team itself, though, even though I feel like the attorney comments make it seem like Chiefsaholic was part of this football team during this run, who do you view as a core member of the current dynasty run? We know, hey, if you got a ring, you're part of the dynasty in some form or fashion, but we were discussing key members. There's the obvious core members that we'll look back and say were part of the dynasty and one of the 4, 5, 6 most important pieces, Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones. is Tyreek Hill going to be viewed as a core member of the dynasty run, whether the dynasty ends in a year or two or it goes on for another 4 or 5 plus years? He was here for the very first one. That matters, right? He was here for the first one against the Niners. He had one of the most memorable plays in Chiefs history, Chip Wasp. That was to him. He's
one of the best players in Chiefs history, arguably, right?
Like wide receiver and all that, yeah.
15 best players maybe in this team's history?
Yep. He lost his next Super Bowl appearance to Tampa, and then they traded him. If I asked you who a core member of the dynasty was, is he still part of it?
No.
Is it because he doesn't have multiple rings in the dynasty?
I don't think you can have one ring in the dynasty and qualify. Like, let's just say, hypothetically, Justin Jefferson got traded to the Chiefs, but only for 1 year. They didn't even sign him to an extension.
Mm-hmm.
He just showed up next year, helped him complete the three-peat, and then moved on his merry way, signing for $50 million to some other team. He doesn't get to be a core member. He was a fun player who got to show up and win a Super Bowl ring. I would have thought this question was nuts as a possibility. When Tyreek Hill was with the Chiefs, was making a lot of money, and was clearly one of their 3-4 best players on the entire roster. But the answer is no. Only has 1 ring, so he's only 1/3 responsible from a ring count anyway, and they just have more players that are going to supersede him in the dynasty that pushes him too far down to call it core. Core, to me, it's got to be under 10 for sure of the dynasty stuff, and it's probably more limited in the 5 to 8, 5 to 9 range.
It's not just as simple as having multiple rings. I think you do have to have multiple rings to be a core member of a dynasty because a dynasty implies multiple championships and over a sustained period of time and success and all that. So it's multiple rings, but not as simple as that because MVS has 2 rings. Nobody says he's a core member of the dynasty. So it's not just 2 rings. It's 2 rings, and were you one of the, I would still in that given season, Cody, argue, were you one of the 3 to 5 best players during those multiple rings that you won? So, that's why Harrison Butker, will be viewed as a core member of the dynasty. He came up with some big-time kicks.
Jones,
obviously,
Kelsey,
Mahomes. Yeah. I think there's a chance when this thing is wrapped up at some point, Trent McDuffie might end up being viewed as a core member of the dynasty. He's not yet.
No, but he's ahead of Tyreek.
But he's got 2 rings. Trent McDuffie does, and he's obviously one of their best players. He might already be there for some people.
What's funny is, if he wins another one, but it's 5 years from now, but it's still for the Chiefs, you'll still be more likely to include him because it's he's got 3 rings total, and he got 2 back in the dynasty time and everything in between.
The one argument I think you can make on Tyreek Hill, but it requires some more mental hoops to go through. All right, first he was part of the first one. He was part of the most memorable play, as we said, and his trade even helped, I would argue, extend the dynasty by trading him. Now, that's again a workaround to get him tied into it, but they don't have Trent McDuffie without that particular trade. Some of these young pieces aren't on the team without the Tyreek Hill trade. So in a way, core member, it depends on how we want to talk about it. Was he a core piece and why they're on a sustained dynasty run? I think he was a big reason why they're in the middle of a dynasty, both with you have to win one to start a dynasty, duh.
Sure.
And he was part of that. And then his trade allowed other pieces to be acquired. So that would be the only way to maneuver around to get him in there.
And the text line is Damian Williams. Look, Damian Williams had a great Super Bowl. He won 1 too. But the caliber of player difference does matter here still. The reason why we're having this conversation with Tyreek Hill and not Damian Williams or Tyrann Mathieu, in fairness, is because Tyreek Hill is one of the 15 most talented players in all of the NFL and was here in Kansas City during part of their dynasty run. But what really hurts him is, first, not having the rings. But what also really hurts him, Gold, is they traded him away and immediately won back-to-back.
32 wins since they traded him.
That's a dagger to the heart, dude. For this conversation, that buries it. They went back-to-back Super Bowl champions the second he left. How am I supposed to include him in this conversation? That's the case. Could you imagine how wild of a conversation this is? If I had told you, let's say after they won the first one, I'd be like, hey, by the way, Chiefs are going to have a dynasty, and Tyreek's not really a part of it. He's not a core member
Now,
of
if I would have told you after the first Super Bowl win that he was getting traded, you would have thought that was crazy too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If I would have told you that they were if I would have told you right after Chip lost that they were going to trade him in 2 years, you would have been like, what the hell are you talking about? We all know the background story there. And frankly, when it comes to Tyreek Hill, just as an individual, now that he's been in Miami, every week he's involved in something. I mean, I'm so glad we don't have that. We can, from afar, almost joke about some of the stuff versus taking it so seriously because he's the Dolphins' problem, not ours now.
Sure.
And that's what happened. I mean, even in the last, 48 hours, there's this new report that he's facing an assault lawsuit for allegedly causing an OnlyFans model to break her leg, which is a hell of a headline there.
That's something. In a blocking drill.
Yeah, so Sophie Hall, Drew, I'm sure you're well aware of her work, OnlyFans model. First connected.
Is this because the reading thing?
I had to get him back at some point. First connected with the 29-year-old NFL player.
Yes, I was expecting it.
After she signed up her son for Tyreek's football camp. Okay, cool. She claims that Tyreek reached out to her, encouraged her to come to the camp a day earlier so they could, quote, hang. TMZ obtained alleged Instagram messages between the two, which show Hill doubting that this OnlyFans model was actually 6 feet tall and claimed that he was known to be a good stepdad. She went to the camp with their son. They met, and he invited her back to his estate, according to the lawsuit. From there, he allegedly paid for her flight and accommodations upon arriving at his home. He asked her to participate in a football drill with him in his backyard. The drill was meant to replicate an offensive lineman contending with a defensive lineman. Allegedly, she was able to push him backward, and he became angry. He allegedly had them switch roles, and in a supposed, quote, fit of rage, pushed Hall, quote, violently and with great force. She claims that she told the 8-time Pro Bowler that she was hurt, but he told her to simply rest and use ice on her injuries. And then she returned home and found out she had a fractured
Telling her to just ice and rub some dirt on it when it turns out she had a leg fracture. That's not great. And also, at some point, as we talked about, like in a workplace, this the same rule that applies that I told you, which is if you've worked at 5 places and you think everybody's a jerk, they're all a-holes. No, you're probably the a-hole. There's a common denominator here, and it's not that every person at every workplace you work at sucks. If Tyreek Hill has 2 incidents a year, dude, in which there is a lawsuit or a paternity lawsuit or a question of physical violence, it's you, man. You're the person who constantly puts yourself in these positions, so I'm not going to feel bad for you. Earlier, the text line's like, I think that's what's easy to want to just kick him off the thing, and I'm trying to separate the personal from the rest of it. What you're describing here, Gold, him getting into a blocking drill with a model he pushed over because he got mad she maybe pushed him back in one is exactly why it's good he's gone. But I'm also trying to separate that from this. Like my Mitch Kelly, he'd sent me a text, my friend. He just said, hey, look, Tyreek went to half of the AFC title. If the dynasty is 6 years, he went to half of the AFC title games. He went to 2 of the Super Bowls. So you can't ignore that. But here's what I would ask you is, so maybe not a core member, but part of the dynasty. So I guess the question I would ask you is, what are the 5 standards, if we set it to that requires you to be a core member? I would say 1 is a certain number for me.
Multiple rings.
Multiple rings. So he's already dismissed on that. 1 is that you were one of the most talented players during the dynasty run. Tyreek actually has that point in his favor. For a 6-year dynasty, for 3 of the years, he was one of the most talented players on the team, right? I think you have to have an incredibly important moment, likely, in those games.
He had that.
Yep. He had that too. So, he probably checks most of the boxes, but longevity a little, and he's about half the time, so not bad, and the number of rings. That's the thing that hurts him. And I told you, had they not just won right after he left, I'd probably feel different too. You know, they won right after he left. I don't know if they got better, but they didn't get worse. He left and kept winning championships. It did not affect them in any way that Tyreek Hill was
again, 32 wins, I think Peter King pointed out in his column on Monday. 32 wins for the Chiefs since they traded Tyreek Hill, and obviously they've won 2 rings since. Turned out to be a move that worked out just fine. And I still think, given the off-the-field mess that they went to bat for him plenty of times on anyway, and then now seeing some of this extra just crap, even if the stuff that's alleged turns out to not be the full story, just the mere involvement and putting yourself in a situation is something you just don't want to be dealing with off the field if you have somebody like that on your team whatsoever.
Yeah, he's just a distraction, man. Why is he blocking?
Drew, a lot of people on the text line are asking if you have any thoughts. They're wanting you to confirm about the model, if you can confirm anything about her specifically. Oh, Drew's away from the mic. Smart man.
She is, according to the article, she's 6'1", so she's got 3 inches on Tyreek. And 30 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she did hold her own in the blocking drill.
She is what?
And he was, I said he's got 3 inches on Tyreek. What? I can't, that's the description.
Gotcha.
They gave. I can find Tyreek's dimensions online. I'm just pointing it out. He's such an idiot, dude. Why does he? You're like, do you? At some point, I stop feeling bad for people getting a little bit of trouble, and I just start being like, why do you just stop doing this to yourself? You got $100 million. Just stop doing dumb stuff. No one's making you do dumb stuff anymore. Like, just take your money and be smart with it.
Can't help himself. That's who he is. He can't help himself.
That's it? You just think we're just going to see these headlines once every 2 years?
There was something else that came out yesterday afternoon, and he's like, settled his first of 4 paternity suits. I mean, he just got a lot of stuff going on, man.
Text asking Drew, how is her 3-point stance? Does she have good balance when she goes?
Do you think she has good push off the line?
How does she get herself in this situation?
I just told you how he got himself in.
How'd she get herself?
Same thing.
On the blocking drill. What are you doing a blocking drill with this man?
Well, the whole story. Remember, she had her son went to a football camp. They met. They hung out. She agreed to be flown down to his estate. They were hanging out, and they're just messing around in the backyard.
Someone says, I sell insurance. Tyreek's home insurance will pay for injuries. If they're doing blocking drills in the backyard, she didn't trip over a stoop. Is that covered? I guess
somebody gets hurt on your property, right?
They get hurt on like a trampoline. Will my homeowner's insurance take care of that?
I believe that's how that works, right?
I don't know. I don't have them.
I think we'll have to get a. I can give you a breakdown. If we see the video, I can give you a play-by-play of what happens. Hey,
is that the first video you've seen of her or no?
Well, that's not a no.
Cody's ready for the combine.
We used to do a combine here, Drew. You don't work.
Yeah.
You didn't work here during the time, but we used to do a 6'10" combine where we ran a 40, did a Wonderlick, did bench press. What else did we do? It was those 3?
Vertical, bench press, 40-yard dash.
It was 5 events, I thought.
Wonderlick.
You could be one of the people who goes up there and observes.
I just got Tyreek's dimensions online. Observes? How dare you? Of the 2 years I competed in the 6'10" combine, I won once. I'm a 50% champ. I didn't go back to back, unfortunately. I lost to Carrington in year 2. I finished 2nd place.
A lot of people asking about.
There's a lot of dimensions being measured at the combine.
That's right. Yep. Cody claims to know all of them for Tyreek. So.
Yeah.
And
height, weight.
And the text line says they thought Tyreek was engaged. Well, he's actually married. Yeah.
What? But there was like a report like a month ago
disputed
that he
it.
denied that like divorce papers were filed.
There was one report in Miami, a newspaper there that claimed that he had filed divorce. He quickly said that's not true. They claim they have the screenshot of the filing. I don't know how.
And then he had said that like his assistant filed that and he shouldn't have. I'm like,
what assistant's going in?
Filed divorce papers? I'm firing my assistant immediately. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Chilling with OnlyFans models doesn't sound too engaged or married. Hey, that's his thing. But yeah,
I'm gonna be honest here. There's no good way to transition from this topic, but we're gonna do it anyway. Because I don't know how to move on from talking about Tyreek Hill's extracurricular activities in which he's entering OnlyFans models and shifting gears back to either
just throwing the ball around the backyard.
Yeah. Like Brady Singer would do. Look, there's a lot of things to talk about the Royals, and I got some more stuff I want to ask about as it relates to them to tomorrow. But because Brady Singer was on the show on Tuesday, I was thinking specifically about his career. And I think because last year was called this evaluation year, and we did get answers on a lot of players and a lot of pitchers, if we're being honest. Plenty of pitchers showed that they can't be counted on, which is why they went to go get Lugo, and went to go get Waka, and found other guys to lead the top of their rotation to go along with Cole Reagan's another person they went to go get in the middle of the year when their starters weren't getting the job done. I'm counting Singer as a complete unknown with a lot of talent. Does that work? Is that a safe way to categorize him? I think he still has all the talent as he did as a guy who I thought could be a number 1 coming out of the draft. But because he's older, and he was telling us on Tuesday how he's reworking half of his pitches in the offseason and at times during the regular season, I'm just kind of penciling him as the great unknown. I think I got a better idea of Waka, Lugo, Cole Reagan's even to a point. I feel like I got a better sense of what kind of pitcher he is. I know who Jordan Lyles is, like it or not. I know who he is. I just don't know what I'm getting out of Singer this year. He's a league average pitcher 3 years. He was bad last year. I'm not sure what I'm getting.
He is a bit of a wild card, but it's kind of interesting because I'm with you on Cole Reagan's. But if you think about the experience and also how much we've seen, it's funny how, Cole Reagan's was Cy Young dominant for 2 months, like what would be the equivalent of a full season if you did that. And Brady Singer was very, very good a couple of years ago. And then, as you said, last year was rough. It's kind of interesting how we view Cole Reagans and we feel like we already know what they're getting. But on Brady Singer, we say we don't. And I'm with you. I'm not even disagreeing with you. That's how I feel as well. But it's also still been a pretty small sample size on Cole Reagans, and yet we feel better about where he's at. Is that just a recency bias thing? Or is it that we just deep down say, oh, we never saw Brady Singer as dominant as that? I would argue we kind of did for a brief period of time.
We did. We've seen...
I think
even last year, even in the bad year, there was like
he's just not consistent.
8-start stretch.
He's just not consistent right now. And I do think the expectation / pressure for Brady Singer is way less, which I tend to think is a good thing. I know Brady, when we had him on the show earlier in the week,
he said pressure's good.
He said, hey, pressure's a good thing.
But you don't have to be the savior. Being the savior is not a fun position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, when you have veteran presence at the top end, and as you brought up, Waka and Lugo, and then Cole Reagans, where I think there's way more pressure on Cole Reagans, fair or not, then Brady Singer, it should allow you...
He's pitching like a Cy Young Award winner.
It should allow you to just go out there and pitch and not feel like you got to be the guy that's the stopper. You know, you're on the team's on because it'll happen. The team will be on a 4-game losing streak at some point. You don't feel like you have to be the guy to stop that. There's other, hopefully, pieces, Waka and Lugo in particular, that can prevent that 3-4 game losing streak from becoming a 7, 8, 9 game losing streak, which we've seen, of course, multiple times over the last couple of years. That's how you lose 56-plus games.
He is a massive...
Or not, win 56, sorry. Lose 106.
He is a massive, massive, massive swing in the how good this rotation is. I think Waka and Lugo, you get like a certain level of play. Let's say Reagans falls back from what he was last year, but also is still really good, right? If Singer is really good, again, if he's 2 years ago Singer, you realize that this could be like a top 5 rotation in the American League all of a sudden. Look, I'm not going to say a top 5 rotation in baseball, but they could have the best rotation in the division. That feels kind of big for a team, Gold, that we're talking about would like to hunt for playoffs sometime in the next 2 or 3 years. Like, they could have the best rotation in the division if Singer is a 3.5, 3.75, maybe down to a 4 earned run guy. Because then you are solid 1, 2, 3, 4, no questions if he's the swing man in that. And then the 5 spot, you hope Daniel Lynch outpitches Jordan Lyles. Or the Jordan Lyles is...
Champagne Lyles.
He's Champagne Lyles for the last 2 months that eventually cost me $250. Which I hedged, of course, by betting on the Royals. Because...
It made that last start very fun, very entertaining for Lyles and company. And yeah, there's different expectations for multiple guys throughout. I mean, we've talked plenty already this spring training about Cole Reagans and what we are expecting from him compared to, put it this way, people are putting money on Cole Reagans to win Cy Young. You know, I've put money, as you know, so have Cody, I think now, but on, strikeout leaders. For Cole Reagans, maybe lead the league in strikeouts. We're not talking that way about Brady Singer. So for those that were texting in talking about hey, why are you talking about Singer, talking about Reagans? We have, and the expectations for Reagans from here are way higher.
Gold has a bet on him for 81 to lead the league. Yeah, I was about to say, you're high on him.
Yeah, so I mean, most people view him in a different light heading into the season. But I hope we're talking in June, and Brady's off to a great start, and we're saying, wow, look, all of a sudden it's Brady Singer that's actually. I would love for that to be the case. He also, as we discussed with Vern yesterday. He's got a chance if he does put together a consistent, above average season, he can go get some money here very, very soon, whether it's from the Royals or elsewhere.
Yeah. Hot commodity, man. Starting pitchers, not just a little bit of money. If you're Brady Singer and you go out there and you throw up a 3.5 earned run average, Jordan Montgomery, it's not like he's been Jordan Montgomery was not like a star the second he stepped in the league, and there he is. His projected contract, he hasn't signed, so I don't know what he'll get, but his projected contract is like $120 million, $120 million. He's 30 years old. He was a journeyman. He's got a 3.68 now career ERA, but he had posted a, 3.88. He's been better than Brady Singer in his career. But, I mean, he wasn't, wow, look at him start. He's been hurt a bunch, all that stuff, and he's going to get himself $120 million? Okay. I mean, you want that kind of check if you're Brady Singer? Perform this way.
Thinking of money and someone that could get some more off the field deals, not going to surprise you if I tell you that Travis Kelce's maybe coming closer and closer to some new endorsement deals. A couple reports out here in the last, 10, 15 minutes or so that Gillette and Kiehl's have made multi-million-dollar offers since Travis Kelce won a Super Bowl. Toyota is in talks with Kelce for a 4-year deal worth $1.5 million per year, along with a $2 million signing bonus. Calvin
What?
Klein and luggage company Samsonite have made massive offers. So whatever the
So
salary
he could get
is,
$8 million over the next 4 years to just do a Toyota commercial?
$2 million signing. Yep.
Man, he's not going to stay in football long.
Well, I would argue, like, this is actually, to me, why he can still. Is these opportunities are there and he's playing.
They should ask Travis Kelce to just play for nothing at this point. He can make all
That's
the
why
money
he's
in the
probably.
world.
That's also why he, over the last couple of years in particular, with his deal, he could have asked for a brand new deal multiple times, and he's been able to find a good balance of restructuring and things like that. You got all these off the field opportunities. I mean, it's kind of what we discussed with Mahomes on a bigger scale. That, why is he flexible with his contract? One, to legacy, right, and to keep building around him, but also Mahomes is making, what was the dollar amount we saw a year ago? Was it $40 or $50 million a year off the field?
Yeah.
I think it was that high. Kelce might be he made more than Mahomes last year, I know, on some TV commercials than even Patrick did this past season. And then now might see him in some Toyota commercials. I know that his representation said they were going to be more selective going forward to not
because you can just take a bigger
oversaturate.
paycheck and just do less of them.
True.
That doesn't even count for like the money they make off of New Heights. Like I don't know what
dude,
percentage
the ad
of
revenue. The ad revenue coming out of that podcast has to be massive. I mean,
They said-
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this year it is. I think in ad revenue it is second only to like Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah,
this year.
millions and millions of dollars of ad revenue on the New Heights podcast. I mean, it was everywhere this year. How many times do we play cuts from that damn show?
Once a week for the
and
entire
it's,
season.
and it's
I imagine.
entertaining, and it's good for them. They're both entertaining individuals, and obviously there's some nuggets that came from that throughout the years. Why we played it on the show, and it added the Taylor Swift aspect to it, and it's a whole new audience for that podcast. Taylor Swift fans just listened to it because they wanted to hear Taylor Swift's boyfriend talk.
That's what we talked about. Like,
That's all it was.
the reason why why they want Travis Kelce even more than like almost anyone else imaginable is he now fits into every I think I don't know, 85% of every demographic. Oh, you want men. And look, we'll just talk from an advertising perspective, the way we look at this in radio. Oh, you want men 25 to 65. Okay, no problem. You want women under the age of, you want women that are like you want like younger, like 12 to 25. Good, you're there. 25 to 35-year-old women. You're like every demographic. He hits so many of them. Of course you want him to endorse your product. That just makes sense. So I imagine he'll make like, I don't know, 10 or 15 million this year in advertisements.
Yeah, you'll be seeing more and more commercials for Travis Kelce. Up next, we'll get to what's trending. We'll also talk a little bit more about what guys could potentially be extended a little earlier than we thought for the Chiefs, and we'll play a little more Chiefsaholic attorney courthouse steps next.
Cody and Gold. Watch the show on YouTube by subscribing to the @610 Sports KC channel. 610 Sports Radio.
Supplement Superstores has helped me lose over 20 pounds, and they can help you as well. Try what I use, Flashpoint Complex, and save 20% when you tell them I sent you. Supplement Superstores has 8 Kansas City area locations. Supplement Superstores when you're ready to feel your best.
Pick up your phone and put in GiveMeTheVin.com. Highest money, quickest offer, $2,000 to $200,000. Top car buyer in the United States is GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Around here at Wrangler, we are all excited for spring. The longer days, the warmer nights. When you've got your pick of shorts and jeans, either works just fine. Blue skies, open roads. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Missouri or Kansas attorneys. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. CordellCordell.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find a repair shop with our shop referral program. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Get ready for the live tennis event of the year, the Netflix Slam, on March 3rd at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Join 22-time Grand Slam champion and tennis legend Rafael Nadal as he takes on world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz and witness a tennis showdown like never before. This live Netflix sports event promises unparalleled tennis action. Mark your calendars for March 3rd, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's Game, Set, Match on Netflix.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, Royal Spring Training continues this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Jordan Lyles on the bump for the Royals. Tomorrow we'll have Royals baseball back on 610 Sports Radio at 2 o'clock, a little Friday afternoon game. But this one over on our sister station as the Royals. Man, Cactus League, look out. Look out. Cactus League, it's all the Royals, man. They run this thing.
They do love a good Cactus League win. I already told you. Their first win of the season came when they convinced the league to give them the big letters. That was the most important thing. Now they can just do the regular win.
I mean, you know what they always say, man. You win the Cactus League, you're winning the World Series. That is usually what everybody says, and they're right there in the thick of things. They're 5-2. Take that, Dodgers, Rangers, Royals.
That's been I think the jerseys have been the first or second biggest story of spring training. Can you tell me what the other one has been?
Other than the uniforms,
Yep.
what's the big story of spring training?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure. The Royals, yeah, clearly.
No, it's Shohei Ohtani's secret wife. Come on.
What? I haven't
He's
seen it.
married.
What?
And nobody knew it.
What?
Secretly
What do you mean
wed his
nobody?
wife.
What do you mean nobody knows?
I'm just letting you know.
He got married?
He's not an eligible bachelor. He secretly wed I think the headline was like,
Oh, there it is.
I'm just
he
telling
announced he's married. Good for him for keeping it quiet.
Shohei's
He got married this offseason. Nobody knew.
He's only going to make
wait. Or did he just get married, or has he been married?
I think
That's
he's just
different. That's a different. That's a whole
I think
different
he
guy.
just got married.
Oh, well, good for him. He didn't have everybody. He's a private person.
He's going to make $3 in the league this year and count $0 against the cap as a reminder for the way his contract is
I
structured.
just hope he can support her.
Yeah, I hope so too. Next up on What's Trending, Dave Merritt to interview for the 49ers defensive coordinator opening. They're casting a pretty wide net. The Chiefs defensive back coach has been instrumental in what has built the best secondary in the league last year. Would be a tough loss for the Chiefs. Cost of doing business is normally what I would say here at Gold. If you put together a great defense multiple years in a row, eventually other teams will be interested in your player. Dave Merritt, as little as a month ago, said he would like to stick in Kansas City long enough for his kids to get through school. I think his son's a junior or senior in high school as it sits
Very
right
good
now.
linebacker.
So we'll see how that goes. I don't blame him for taking the interview. Getting a DC job is one step away from head coach.
Next up on What's Trending, Missouri basketball. Are they going to go 0 for an SEC play? They are well on their way. They're 0-15 now after losing to Florida last night, 83-74. They've got 3 games left to the Tigers in conference play. They'll take on Ole Miss Saturday in Columbia. Then they will host Auburn March 5th, and they'll wrap up the season, the regular season, at LSU. They might end up going 0-18. It sure looks like they're going to go 0-18. Just a dreadful season for the Missouri Tigers.
You know who didn't go 0-18 in their conference? UMKC basketball. They actually take on Denver tonight. They got no more home games. They've got Denver and Oral Roberts left in the schedule. UMKC is still statistically alive to be the number 1 seed in the Summit League tournament. Currently, they're the 3 to 4 seed, depending on tiebreakers. So we'll see. But they need a couple of big wins against Denver and Oral Roberts if they want to stay off of that, you don't want to face the number 1 seed in the second round kind of stuff business. You'd rather avoid that, even though they beat that team a couple of weeks ago. So UMKC tonight against Denver. You want to put some money on it together? Me and you, Ruse money line.
Let's see. What do we got?
I don't know, look it up. I'll give you the last thing on What's Trending that you can tell me.
Yeah, go
last
for
thing
it.
on What's Trending, former, I guess now, or I don't know, current soccer star Paul Pogba received a 4-year ban for his positive test for performance-enhancing drugs last September. He was accused of doping. They found him guilty of that. He's now been suspended from professional soccer for 4 years. That's a long ban for the former star.
The UMKC Roos, Cody, at Denver, they're 3.5-point underdogs, plus 140 on the money line.
We're taking the Roos on the money line.
Just plus 140, huh?
Clean
That's what
plus
you
140.
want?
Yep. That's what we're doing.
You just think they can't be stopped now. They're an unstoppable team.
I'm just telling you right now, the Roos are playing some
They are
really,
playing
really
good basketball. They got to keep the momentum going in the tournament for your Roos to have a
I
shot.
want them to go to the tournament so bad, man.
Just get to the conference final, and that'd be fun. That'd be big time.
That would also be fun. You have to remember, like, this season started really bad for UMKC because I was like, oh, this is not going to go well. They were like, they were scratching, surviving against, like, not good teams early in the season. They were, like, cutting it close with Lindenwood and stuff, man. It was bleak. And it's a down year for the Summit League. I'm not going to pretend that that's not the case, but I will not apologize.
You got to be
for that.
when the Kangaroos and the Pioneers match up, you got to be locked in. That's what I always say. And I will be.
Last time they faced Denver was this month, February 1st at home. Beat them by 14, Gold. Shouldn't like that money line bet now.
Yeah, but man.
And they're underdogs? 14. They're underdogs. 3.5-point underdogs.
Cody,
Denver's not a tough place to play. Everybody knows that.
You don't just walk in to the Pioneers arena and think that you're just going to come away with a win, though. I mean,
Seen that campus? It's rinky-dink.
You just don't walk in there and think that you're getting a victory.
That's it. I'm just like officially, this is me verbally making.
I think you're disrespecting Hamilton Gymnasium. I think, or Magnus Arena, whichever one they play in.
How
low's
the crowd going to be?
Let's all do this together. This is not a fade or follow moment. This is a follow moment. I'm talking to the text line too. I'm putting $50 on the Roos to win tonight on the money line at plus 140. I think we should all be in this together. We can celebrate this victory together. Roos money line is the play tonight.
I hope you're right. Hope you're right, man. That's wrapping up what's trending with what's going on.
I'm gonna make my bet. I'm a man of my word.
That's good. I would hope if you just told us you were betting that you're actually betting. I like it. I was listening to Dusty last night. I was driving home. Give him props. He had he mentioned Caitlin Clark, Iowa, obviously one of the most talented basketball players we've ever seen.
Sure.
And he said, hey, go bet her triple-double tonight against Minnesota.
She got it?
She was 3-1, and Dusty had that. That was correct.
Imagine being nice. Imagine
nice
just being
triple-double.
Imagine just being 3-1 to get a triple-double. That's how
She's
good
incredible.
You are.
Yeah, I mean, she's incredible and dominant. She had triple-double against Minnesota the last time, I think.
All right, UMKC Roos. Oh, minus 3.5.
What would you do if I bet?
Plus 145 on the money line.
What if I bet against you on the other side?
Excuse me?
Do you want to just take the action, or you want me to bet it separately?
Oh, like we just take each other's action? I don't care. We can. I mean, they don't get a cut of my rake if we just take each other's action. You want the other side?
Money. You're getting plus money. He's getting plus money though.
I'm getting plus 145, so you're going to have to put up more than one. You're going to have to put up more than the 50.
That's right.
I can make it a $40 bet if you want to just do that.
We'll figure. Okay.
We can bet against each other.
We'll figure that part out. I don't think the Roos are winning.
Just take my action. $40. $40, but you got to give me plus. Your original number plus 140. Technically, that's plus 145, but I'll give you the 5.
Okay, so you want to bet 40, and if the Roos win, then I owe you $45. Is that what you're basically saying? And if not, you owe me
40.
40.
Yep.
Okay, deal.
All right. Look, I got my action. We're doing this together.
Okay.
That's fine. Text line. Get on your apps.
No need to bet separately. We'll just do it head to head.
Someone says that line screams Denver.
I'm just telling, like I said, you just don't walk into Denver with the win. So I'll be
impressed.
Roos
are hot.
You know,
Roos are hot. Playing good basketball, and I think that matters.
Okay. Before we get to Chiefsaholics attorney on the courthouse steps with some new dramatic music, the Chiefs not only have decisions on Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed, but keeping an eye on the cap space. If anybody's checked out, like Spot Track and Over the Cap, and seen numbers floated out and like, hey, I thought they had $25 million in cap space. Why is it down to like 7 or 9? That's because there's these performance bonuses basically that are already built into the deal. And when you draft as well as the Chiefs have, you have talented players that are outperforming their contract. And so that is why the cap has already gone down. There's some players like Creed Humphrey and otherwise that are already having raises built in essentially to their deals. But how does that actually impact you going forward? Because I think if I told you 6 months ago, hey, at the end of the season, they're probably going to have to get a deal done with Nick Bolton and Creed Humphrey a year or so early, you probably already thought that.
I think, yes. But based on the fact that they're getting a raise, it does seem like it juices their number up a little bit, just in general, because they're making more this year. So whatever extension you're offering, they know they would have made more this year, more next year, hypothetically more on the free agency market, especially now that the cap has gone up. I do think it makes things more complicated. But I also think if they're going to draft I would warn against thinking you're going to draft at this rate forever. And instead, when you draft well and can afford to pay them, keep them in-house. That's why I'm for giving these guys extension versus just being like, screw it. You just draft like this forever, and we'll just keep replacing these guys with younger guys. For some players, sure. The hit rate that Brett Veach had for a 2 or 3 year run, this is not against him. He is the best GM in football. I don't even think you can argue it right now. You can't replicate that every year. It's just not, it's never been done. So it won't be done. It's not like a knock against him. People can have great drafting runs when you get those picks right. It is important that you choose the ones you want to pay and pay them. This year, this seems like the most logical ones because this could include Trey. This could include Creed Humphrey. It could include Nick Bolton.
See, I think Trey's the odd man
and
out long term.
they already chose not to pay Tommy Townsend, it seems.
Yeah, so I think Trey, not this year. He still has a year under his contract, so he will play out the final year of his deal. But I don't believe Trey Smith, out of the group of Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, that same draft class or time frame, I don't believe the guard is the position that they'll go with. They're going to have to do something new with Joe Thuney anyway, probably. And so I don't know. Are they going to pay Joe Thuney what it's going to take to probably redo his deal, extend him out, and Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey? I just don't believe that, especially when, if Wanya Morris is not your long-term answer at left tackle, maybe he is, but if he's not, and you have some other backup offensive line, I don't know if they want to pay what will be viewed as kind of top-tier money at left guard, center, and right guard. Can you do that? They have shown a reluctance to do that at positions outside of the individuals we've discussed over the last few years. Kelsey, Mahomes, maybe Chris Jones here. I think Nick Bolton is a player they will absolutely sign an extension to. Every comment we've had from Steve Spagnuolo suggests the value they believe he brings to the table. And I know that doesn't mean he's a perfect player. He's not great in coverage. Of course not. But he's a thumper in the run game, and they clearly trust him and the knowledge of what's it look like when he's not wearing the green dot. Because I know there's been some discussion out there like, hey, would I rather have
I remember having that conversation with Matthew, though, and they figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it certainly have, but do they have – that's because maybe they felt like they had personnel, and Justin Reed was a guy they could just bring in. Do they believe that without Nick Bolton, who can step up and do that? I know Tranquill was great. I want Tranquill back, but I don't know if it's as simple as saying, oh, don't do an extension for Bolton. Just bring back Willie Gay, Drew Tranquill, and Leo Chenal and roll with that. I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think Nick Bolton, who still has a year left under his contract, but we know that they will likely have to get that done before the start of the season. I think Nick Bolton will have an extension done.
You and I both typically agree the way this works too is that we assume if you are, let's say you're Creed Humphrey or you're Nick Bolton, if you don't get a contract done right now, you and I are both going to assume that there will be a way less likely chance they're here in the long term. Because that's just the way it works.
Yes.
That's the Willie Gay thing you just mentioned. It is they didn't get the deal done with you, so that's probably all she wrote. Doesn't mean it always works that way, certainly by no means, but that has traditionally been the line across the board. And so I just think they have to get them done now because they've been hurt. They would have $5-10 million more in cap space had those players played worse. Now, look, you don't care about that. You've won Super Bowls, and you're glad that they are playing at that level to justify it. But I mean, at the same time, you've got to figure out now in order to have the money you want for this year, especially if you're going to try to pay a left tackle, as you mentioned, or try to pay a wide receiver, or try to pay a defensive lineman that isn't Chris Jones or is Chris Jones. It doesn't matter.
And a lot of it will be dictated by what they want to do in this free agency period. Like, are they going to spend as much money as we think they're going to spend? How are they mapping out the next year? We know, it won't be long before. It sounds crazy, but they will be having to talk McDuffie new deal in a year or so. That's the reality of how this stuff usually works. If Trent McDuffie has another year where he's basically the best corner in football, this year was him and Snead, but if he's not going to play out the final 2 years of a rookie deal, even though he's a first-round pick, and technically you can make it a 5-year with the option. That's not how this goes. He will get a new deal before he reaches his 4th year.
They just have
if he keeps going.
There are going to be a lot of players who are like, they're letting them go? Because, look at Tommy Townsend, who had, before this season, historically been one of the better ones. That's barely scratching the surface of what's coming your way. Because, they're not going to keep Trey and Creed and Tooney and McDuffie and Karloftis and, and Bolton and, they're just and Snead and Jones. They're getting ready to say goodbye to some players that you think are really good players. That's coming. It just is.
Yeah, that's the tough reality of dynasties and champions. This is why it's so important to keep drafting, though, to keep the pipeline going. And you're not going to hit at the same rate. This is also why when we discuss L'Jarius Sneed getting traded and why it would make sense if that's the route they go, you get a second-round pick. You get another pick to go and hopefully, in your mind, draft a piece that's here on a cheap deal for 4 more years if you nail the pick. And maybe you use that pick to trade up even. I don't know. But that's why you would consider still trading L'Jarius Sneed off of the franchise tag, because you get a second-round pick and have team control for 4 more years on a guy that's making no money. If you have trust in your scouting department that you can keep doing that, we all know free agency, you always overpay. That's not the way that's how you can finish off a roster. That's not how you build the dynasty. They're not in this dynasty because they spent a ton of money in free agency. That's not why they've been able to win 3 rings. It's because they drafted the quarterback, but also Chris Jones was a homegrown talent. They continue to keep it right. Travis Kelce, even not with this regime, still homegrown talent. Trent McDuffie, homegrown talent. Snead, homegrown. Karloftis, homegrown. Keep Rashee Rice. I mean, we can keep going. Creed Humphrey.
Honestly, the players that frustrate you the most are the ones they brought in free agency, other than Joe Tooney.
And Justin Reed, I think, has been pretty good too. And there's some minor signings here and there. At the time, seemed minor, turned out to be big ones in Tranquil. But overall, you build a dynasty through the draft.
I'm out here researching UMKC. I made this bet without. It turns out doing as much research on Denver as I know about UMKC. Denver 10-3 at home this year.
I like my bet even more. I like my bet even more.
Pretty good at home, huh?
Get that Venmo ready. Get the Venmo account primed, ready to go.
Man, that's pretty good. It's pretty good at home. I'm gonna look at UMKC's road record, I guess. And also their road record's skewed because they were taking on Kansas on the road. They probably weren't gonna win that game. Right?
Well, they didn't. They didn't. Yesterday, we mentioned at this time the Chiefsaholic news, right? He had pled guilty to 11 armed robberies and ordered to pay up to $500,000 in restitution. Faces up to 50 years in prison. Ooh. There's sentencing that still has to happen, so we don't know exactly what that's going to look like.
When is the sentencing hearing?
I'm not sure. Yeah, months from now, I would guess, right? Don't you think?
It depends.
I don't know. You're more involved in the legal system, being in it before than I am, so I'm not.
I'm not a sentencing hearing.
I'm not sure, Cody. But his attorney, Matthew Merriman, I believe, right, was the attorney, was on the courthouse steps. Esquire.
Damn straight. You got it right, Drew.
Was on the courthouse steps, and we've had a little bit of fun with it because this attorney back in August. I'll remind you, this was what he had to say at that point in time. And then you fast forward to what he had to say just the other day. And he's continued, guys, to provide us with some unbelievable gems. And people decided, why don't you guys mix it up a little bit and give us some music behind it? So this was back in August for starters.
This is not Chiefsaholic's last drive. And he believes, and we believe, that when the final whistle blows, and all of the facts are known, that he is going to be redeemed in the eyes of his community, in the eyes of his fans, and in the eyes of the Chiefs' kingdom.
So I thought that was it. But no, he's leaned into it even more yesterday. And we played you just regular, and a lot of you suggested, why don't you guys try to put some music behind it?
Make it more inspirational the way he's talking.
Which one do you want? We've got a couple options here. What do you want?
I'm planning on getting to all of these. So
let's start with Independence Day. This is Chiefsaholic's attorney yesterday on the courthouse steps describing what his client has been through.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs' kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support.
They're all so good. Like the suggestions keep coming in.
Someone says, why does the criminal have fans? I don't think he really has fans. I think this attorney is just unreal and seems like an SNL skit. Yeah. I mean, this is an SNL skit, but this is a real attorney that is speaking about his client.
Scuba Man over on Twitch is requesting Hit 'Em Up by Tupac or just the Harry Potter music.
What about...
Is it funny with the Harry Potter music?
What about Top Gun?
I mean, I'm interested in Top Gun, sure. You want to do one more of
From the
these?
beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He
so
took
intense.
responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell,
the build-up,
he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs' kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support.
Again, I don't think anybody's rallying. I don't think that's going to happen.
Someone says the last thing he's going to get to celebrate is an Independence Day.
Is his name pronounced Xavier or Xavier?
I don't know.
Like
He said it both
caviar.
ways.
Caviar.
The emphasis he puts on that really helps the music setup. I'm not going to lie. It makes it even better.
We'll keep coming up with some of these over the next couple weeks randomly. Someone wants one shining moment.
One shining moment. I mean, for March.
Maybe we'll save that for March Madness. Yeah.
I mean, it's March tomorrow.
March Madness week. I mean, I just want to keep playing these, honestly. Someone suggested the rest of the show. We kind of are. Kind of where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, God, one shining moment. That would be really good. Instead of playing one shining moment on this show after the NCAA tournament, we're just going to play him.
I think we'll do that because I don't
moment.
think any of the local schools are winning the Natty this year. So I think we have to have our own one shining moment.
You don't think Missouri's going to win the SEC tournament after not winning a single SEC conference game?
I don't think they're going to go 0-18 and then go on a run in Nashville. I think it is the SEC tournament or wherever the hell they have it.
K-State's still got to fight to get in the tournament,
That's
and
true.
Kansas looks lost.
Yeah, Kansas looks like a first weekend exit team right now if Kevin McCullough doesn't come back.
Like a round of 32 squad.
Like they're still going to be a 3 or 4 seed, but they don't look like one of those deep run teams. But you never know, man.
Someone said occasionally in here we got to throw in some funny ones. Like, what if it's just next to the Seinfeld theme? Honestly, this guy seems like he would represent Kramer in something. So that doesn't seem out of the question by any means.
Yeah, someone wanted Chariots of Fire. We did that one, or that might have been my favorite one though. We had that earlier. I don't see it in this. I don't see it in the system anymore.
I did not put it in the system because we played it live.
We did play it live. Have to go back to the podcast page.
Yeah.
610sports.com or over on the Odyssey app.
Mm-hmm.
I'll mix that one down too, so we can have that
Have
one
it for future
have it in the
reference.
vault.
What's the Macho Man intro music? This is the third person to mention that. I'll be honest, I didn't watch a lot of wrestling growing up. Nothing against it. I just didn't watch a lot of it. How epic? Does anybody know what that music sounds like?
I'd have to hear it, man.
I'm looking it up now.
I'll listen to it in a break, or I guess at the end of the show. I'll listen to it, but don't worry, we'll be making more of these. I think like a bunch.
So didn't this attorney used to sell the ShamWow? No, I don't think it's the same guy.
Someone said yakety sax. Just him talking in the background.
I mean, any song works. Let's just be real.
Yeah, I'm not so sure. You know, we haven't done enough hip hop yet. I want to hear some like.
Yeah, the only one we had hip hop under the August comments at one
We had
point.
some Meek Mill under that one.
Yeah, I want some.
Yeah, Meek Mill's been in the news the last day.
You want to put it over a fast car instrumental?
What's that? A fast car?
instrumental.
Luke Combs?
The instrumental one.
Yeah, we'll take these suggestions. We'll work on these, and then randomly over the next month, maybe.
Is this guy okay? So is his name Randy Savage? Is
Macho Man Randy Savage?
Well, you know even less about wrestling than me. I know that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's hear it. What's it sound like?
Well, I had it, but I backed off because I didn't know.
I'll listen to it later. Don't worry about it.
Oh, no, I got it.
I mean,
from the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing.
Very good.
But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant.
That's so
That
good.
cut it off.
So many choices. It just never ends. God. When you were looking for lawyers and you still had a little pocket money, let's say, from before you had to pay all the restitution, you still had this painting worth some money. But when you had a little pocket money still rolling around from those bets you had cashed out before you left town.
Yeah.
Did you not shop around a little bit?
Well, two things. One, not sure if he had any money. Second thing, you're expecting someone that thought it was a good idea to consistently rob banks.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't have to say allegedly anymore. He pled guilty, so I can stop saying allegedly.
Oh, yeah, you can. He robbed banks.
He robbed banks and then laundered the money through casinos. You're asking that man to have made a sound decision.
Is that where you would launder your money if you were successfully robbing banks?
Well, if he wasn't posting all the damn tickets publicly and bragging about winning and stuff, he might have actually had a little better shot.
Be hard for you not to post that ticket, though. It said, I bet 10 grand on UMKC tonight.
That's why I feel like what happens to anybody that robs a bank, I feel like either they keep doing it and they're eventually going to get caught, or they can't keep their mouth shut. I know we don't hear about them, but that's the point. Like, does someone you think really just rob one bank and then just stop forever?
DB Cooper, man.
Who?
DB Cooper.
Oh.
Robbed that plane. Heist.
Oh, I've
never heard from the guy again.
I've seen that thing, yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's it, though. I don't have a lot of other examples.
Cody's first lesson when he teaches at UMKC is do not rob banks. That's the first lesson.
Day one
syllabus.
Podcasting class?
I got to pass on the background check first.
Good luck. We'll talk to you guys.